Good morning. It's 5 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And in the news this morning, we are starting off in the 50s once again today, and we'll have another carbon copy day just like yesterday.
Upper 70s to the low 80s and a mostly sunny sky for us once again.
For Stefano DiPietro, now he's got his eye on some stormy weather over the weekend. We'll keep following that forecast and keep you informed. 3 more deceased hostages remains were returned to Israel overnight, and Hamas is expected to return even more today. There's a word also that one of the sets of remains that already has been returned doesn't match any of the missing Israelis. Other news, a riot broke out in Chicago yesterday over the arrest of a couple of illegal immigrants who used their SUV as a weapon against ICE agents.
Homeland Security officials say an undocumented immigrant inside an SUV tried to flee from being arrested and rammed into a Border Patrol vehicle. A chase followed, with agents then crashing into the SUV to stop it. 2 people fled on foot but were eventually arrested. Residents nearby gathering at the scene, the crowd growing hostile, throwing eggs at federal agents, then rocks. Agents responding by firing tear gas. Several people were arrested.
That's ABC's Nicole D'Antonio. Well, since the beginning of the Memphis State Task Force 2 weeks ago, with federal agents helping crack down on crime there, more than 850 arrests have been made. And now Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Director David Roush says they're also recovering missing kids, 45 of them.
On about 4 or 5 occasions that we have made referrals over to DCS where the child needed to be removed from the situation. Some of those are just having the conversations with the parents about where they're running to and the services that the family needs.
Roush also saying that in some cases, those kids were living with adults who are not relatives or guardians. Those adults are now facing charges. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
An up and down day for stocks on Wall Street, ending with a mixed finish as investors digest new remarks from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. The Dow added 203 points. The Nasdaq lost 172. And the S&P dipped 10 points. Powell told the NABE annual meeting that the central bank's views on employment and inflation have not changed, meaning more interest rate cuts are possible. Stocks started the day down on renewed trade tensions with China. The country sanctioned 5 U.S.-linked units of a South Korean shipbuilding firm. Wall Street had one of its most profitable quarters, according to earnings reports from major banks. But executives are cautioning about market conditions and potential overinflated asset prices. GM will take a $1.6 billion hit next quarter as tax incentives for electric vehicles are slashed and emissions rules ease. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Stock futures all pointing up with the Dow futures plus 189 right now. That's the latest news. Traffic is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. There's a crash on 24 this morning, the westbound lanes in Glencliff that had the roadway closed down this morning. That involved a fatality. The roadway is now open right before Briley Parkway South exit 54. That crash now cleared away. Mount Juliet, watch it. Eastbound on 40 before Mount Juliet Road, exit 226. There's a truck fire that is now being cleaned up, and 3 right lanes are still blocked off by it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning and welcome on in. It is a Wednesday, hump day, October 15th of 2025, and hope you are doing well. Joan, did you watch any of the Day of Remembrance yesterday at the White House?
Yes, I did.
Man, I got to tell you, It was amazing.
Yeah.
So this is, if you're watching on YouTube, you've got President Trump, and he is there in front of Erica Kirk, the parents of Charlie Kirk, which, we don't hear much about the parents of Charlie Kirk, do we? I mean, I don't know.
And I've always thought about that. Her dad, I know her father was there in support of her.
Yeah. And I was very touched by it. I was not able to watch the whole thing, but just gorgeous.
That's the song that they walked out on. The ceremony ended.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll.
And I thought Erica Kirk's speech was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. She is so eloquent.
Yeah.
And she is so. I don't know what the right word is to utilize to describe Erica Kirk. She's incredible in so many different ways. But one of the things that President Trump said, and I'm going to get to her sound bites in a minute, but the president talking about Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk in this beautiful ceremony, the president had a great speech, and he said a lot about what Charlie Kirk meant to conservatives.
He was assassinated in the prime of his life for boldly speaking the truth, for living his faith and relentlessly fighting for a better and stronger America. He loved this country. Mm-hmm. And that's why this afternoon it's my privilege to posthumously award Charles James Kirk our nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Thank you.
I mean, so appropriate. And as Erica Kirk and the president, I thought it was interesting when he and I, if you saw this on YouTube, if you're watching on Super Talk TV, the president said what he said about awarding Charlie the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Then he pointed, and I'm assuming that he was pointing at Erica Kirk.
Yeah.
Now, did you happen to watch her entire speech, Joan?
No,
because I
didn't get to see the whole thing.
I watched the whole thing this morning. Do you know what's really difficult about someone like Erica Kirk? Is that her speeches are so eloquent and they are so impactful that it's hard to distill the highlights of such a great speech because she said so many incredible things. But I've got some. I tried, folks. I really did try.
The very existence of the Presidential Medal of Freedom reminds us that the national interest of the United States has always been freedom. Our founders etched it into the preamble of our Constitution, and those words are not relics on parchment. They are a living covenant. The blessings of liberty are not man's invention, they are God's endowment. Charlie lived for those blessings, not as abstract words, but as sacred promises.
I mean, it is so amazing on so many different levels that Charlie was shot wearing a shirt that said freedom. And so for the president to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, clearly appropriate. And Erica Kirk's speech, it was full of these, concepts and ideas revolving around not only freedom, but also about, living with Christ and living in America, the Constitution, and what all of those mean to conservatives.
And he used to say, freedom is the ability to do what is right without fear. And that's how he lived. He was free from fear. He was free from compromise, free from anything that could enslave his soul. His name, Charles, literally means free man. And that's exactly who my husband was. He was a free man. Charlie often said that without God, freedom becomes chaos. And he believed liberty could only survive when anchored to truth.
Yep. And more about Erica Kirk real quickly is that she is, of course, as you now know, she is running Turning Point USA. And last I heard, and I looked it up this morning, I haven't seen anything else about how many more chapters are being formed in the name of course, Charlie Kirk in schools, colleges, and high schools across the country. But I know that there's a lot. And I know that for Erica Kirk, I know that for the people at Turning Point USA, and of course, we all know that our friend Chris Hand worked at Turning Point USA and does still have an affiliation with Turning Point. They're doing everything that they possibly can to try and get all of those chapters formed. And it's not easy. And I'm sure that they're going through some growing pains, but I don't necessarily believe that you need to have all of those chapters actually active to live like Charlie Kirk or to learn from Charlie Kirk. One of the things that I love, and I'm going to be reading them here in a second, but Turning Point USA actually shared 31 ways to live like Charlie Kirk. We're going to go over some of those here in a second. I do want to highlight a couple more moments with Erica Kirk and her speech yesterday as her husband, Charlie, received the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
And I remember in one of his speeches, he told the audience that the opposite of liberty isn't law. He said it's captivity. And that the freest people in the world are those whose hearts belong to Christ. But what's so powerful is that Charlie had the ability to communicate so brilliantly across all generations. And he reminded us that in a world that tells us freedom is doing whatever you want to do, the real freedom is the power to live freely and to do what is right. And in one of his journal entries, he wrote that he wanted everyone to know that you can't have liberty without moral responsibility.
That was really good. You see what I mean about impactful?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the entire presentation of Erica Kirk, you really do need to. I've got 30 seconds left of Erica Kirk and what she had to say yesterday. Then we are going to go over the 31 ways to live like Charlie Kirk. I really like these, and we'll talk about that coming up.
Freedom divorced from faith eventually just destroys itself. A life lived for defending freedom, and that's what Charlie fought for until his last breath. And it was written across his chest in those final moments on one of his simple t-shirts that always carried a message, and this one bearing a single word, freedom. That was the banner over his life, and that shirt was a declaration. The same declaration he made in every speech, every campus visit, every time he shared the gospel at a church, every sleepless night that he would spend praying for the youth of this nation and planning for the future of our country and just impressing upon them that when we defend liberty, we defend the soul of our nation.
I mean, just an amazing, amazing speech. So coming up, we're going to talk about the 31 ways to live like Charlie Kirk. That is coming up. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Okay, so we have an accident still, a truck fire actually on 40 eastbound before Mount Juliet Road, exit 226. They're cleaning it up right now, but they've got 3 right lanes blocked off by it. You still have some delays on 24 westbound approaching Bradley Parkway because of an earlier accident this morning and road closure. Things are doing okay on 40 otherwise and 65 heading in this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. As far as your weather goes, plenty of sun, of course, pleasant. High of 81. Feeling like 82 today. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Dan Mandis. Sam is here. Joan is here as well.
Hey, I have the number of chapters for you. I want to hear.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So at the time of his death, there were 3,500 campus chapters, 900 were college, 1,200 high school.
Right.
2 weeks ago, they were saying 62,000 chapters.
My word.
Yeah.
I don't know how you even execute that. Like, how do you do that? There's got to be some sort of a way where you, and maybe I'll ask Chris, he's obviously in touch with the Turning Point folks, but there should be a way to like plug and play. Like, all right, go to this website.
Yes, exactly.
And here's how you do it.
Here's the paperwork. Do this.
Yes,
yeah.
Here's the
should be
template. Here's
automatic.
the template. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, they've got to go through some of the schools, which they might be more left-leaning, and you get into all kinds of nonsense. 31 ways to live like Charlie Kirk. Honor the Sabbath. That's number 1. Now, I don't know if any of these are in any particular order, but number 2, journal every day. Number 3, send scripture to friends. Number 4, have conversations with people you disagree with. Obviously, he did all of these. One of the things that Erica Kirk spoke about during her speech was that Charlie was known to journal every single day. You ever journal, Joan?
I try, but I don't. Like, I start doing it and then I stop.
You know, I tried journaling once and I got bored with my life. He says, get married, have kids, go to church, work out. I have failed at that one miserably. He says, get sun. Number 10 is get sun. Ask your spouse, how can I better serve you? You ever do that, Joan? You ever ask your spouse? You ever ask John? How can I better serve you?
Those words.
I think Amy knows better than to ask that of me.
I just say, what can I do better for you, honey?
You know what I always say, actually, to the lovely Amy? What can I do to help?
Yeah.
Well, how can I help you?
It's typically leave the room.
Do you know what she actually said to me one time? Amy actually said to me one time, how can I help? Do you know what she said? I got 2 words. Stop talking.
Oh, I get that one.
Do you get that one too?
Oh, yeah.
Read your Bible every day. Stand up for your beliefs. Eat hot sauce.
Yeah.
Eat hot sauce.
How do you eat hot sauce?
Well, put it on stuff.
Yeah, put it on your eggs.
Have you ever like just?
Actually, I'm a fiend.
Chug it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Hillary Clinton did that too.
Well, with a mouthful of tranquilizers.
She carried it in her purse.
In her purse.
She said, carry a pocket constitution, support local businesses, drink a mint majesty tea with 2 honeys. That was, of course, the drink that he had at Starbucks. And I've yet to do that. You folks know I go to Starbucks often. I've yet to do that because I'm not, once I get out of here, I've had, buckets of tea with my throat coat. But I'm going to try that at some point because it does sound good. A mint majesty tea with 2 honeys. Avoid drugs and alcohol. Don't be afraid of what others think of you. Get 8 hours of sleep. I wish. Limit your social media intake. Touch grass and get out in nature. And again, if you're just joining us this second, 31 ways to live like Charlie Kirk. Learn something new every day. Would you say you learn something new every day, guys?
Yeah.
I feel like I do.
Yeah, whether it's a new piece of information or maybe something that you want to verge on, like a long-term goal.
Yeah, I mean, I learn something new every day just by doing this show. I've got to do so much research and stuff. Let's see here. Be a leader, not a follower. Never surrender. Be bold and courageous. Outwork your enemy. read The College Scam. Now, The College Scam is Charlie Kirk's book, and we'll get to that in a second. Work to own land, become ungovernable. And number 31, pick up the mic. So 31 ways to live like Charlie Kirk. That book, The College Scam, how America's universities are bankrupting and brainwashing away the future of America's youth. And I think that, Charlie Kirk's message, and I had a lot to say after he was assassinated, so I don't want to repeat myself too much. But one of the things that I would say is that for Charlie Kirk, that is a message that the younger generation desperately needs to hear. And that's why I think that his message is so important to have. And there's important chapters that need to be started in these colleges all across America. I think one of the reasons why these colleges are hesitant to allow Charlie Kirk chapters is because he totally called them out. He totally called the BS of colleges in his book, The College Scam. And if you think about it, these colleges, they themselves, more often than not, they are bankrupt of any morality or ethics or even free speech on these college campuses. That's why Charlie Kirk and what he was doing on some of these college campuses was so important. Because over the last 5-10 years, what have we all been reporting to you? The lack of freedom of speech on college campuses, where if you were a young Republican and you tried to spread the word of conservatism, they shut you down.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I love that. You're a college guy, Sam. You ever read that book?
I haven't. I will say I've glazed the cover of it. I will say what Charlie has to say about it is true when it comes to the curriculum structure. We need education reform at the collegiate level for sure. But people are taking this list in the wrong way, and they're trying to say, well, Charlie would want you to live like Christ. They're putting this out there so people can understand the kind of person he was and the things that made him happy and fulfilled in life.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, maybe try some of the things that he tried and see if it works for you, if it adds joy to your life, because he was a very happy-go-lucky guy.
One of the things, I'm glad you brought that up, Sam, because one of the things that Erica Kirk said yesterday, I didn't pull that piece of audio, but one of the things that Erica Kirk said was Charlie didn't tell you how to live, he didn't tell you how to think, but he wanted people to think. Mm-hmm. And I think that was what Charlie's overall message was think for yourself. And just don't let yourself be brainwashed by either the colleges or the people on the left. What you need to do is you need to be able to think for yourself. And oftentimes, if you're, in my opinion, you think rationally, that'll bring you right back to how Charlie Kirk and conservatives thought about things every single day. 5:23, Nashville's Morning News. Joan's got the news at 5:30. Hey, Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, THP upgrades its 911 system, makes it easier for you. Also, the Trump administration has just revoked the visas of some foreigners who made ugly remarks about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That story coming up here as well at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
528 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I don't have a big thing on Israel today, Joan. But, I mean, there is video out there, horrific video of Hamas. Well, maybe I do have a lot to say about Israel. But Hamas, they have yet to disarm. And they're still running around Gaza and they're killing people, and including this one video that I saw where they basically executed 8 people in the street.
And they're doing it because they believe these people help the Israeli side of things.
Yeah, accusing them of collaborating.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's exactly right. We talked about that yesterday. So Donald Trump had something to say about that. I will play that audio for you coming up here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Don't forget, Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. I don't know if you guys pay attention to like the streaming metrics and all that, but we're doing really well. People are watching on YouTube. I mean, I really appreciate the dynamic of the people there, the chat on YouTube and all that, because they've got their own thing going on in there, and oftentimes it's oftentimes they're talking about things that I'm not even talking about. They're just conversing amongst each other while they watch the show. So hello to everybody watching on YouTube, Facebook as well, X997WTN.com. I don't care how you watch us. Just watch us, and I appreciate it. And if you're listening on the radio, thank you there as well. Good old 99.7 WTN on your FM dial. And you can also stream us anywhere, listen to the podcast, watch the show later, whatever. We have a lot coming up, by the way. Today's, Joan, how we do those silly, stupid days, where they designate, any given day, like Rocky Road Ice Cream Day.
Yeah.
Today's a good one.
What is it?
I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm going to tell you coming up next. It is 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning to you. It is 5:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're at 55 degrees, fair skies right now. We'll go to 83 in the sunshine later on today. In the news, President Trump announcing yesterday that the U.S. military carried out another strike on a suspected drug vessel off the coast of Venezuela, killing 6 suspected smugglers.
Venezuela says the latest U.S. strike on a suspected drug boat is a violation of international rights. But President Trump says the U.S. attacked the boat in international waters, killing 6 drug traffickers. It's the 5th U.S. missile strike on a boat off Venezuela in recent months.
That's ABC's Faith Abube. Tennessee Highway Patrol is getting an update to their dispatch system today. The new system will route calls over a private network rather than over the public internet. THP says that'll allow them to get location information directly from any 911 call so they can rush help faster.
THP does not currently take 911 phone calls. So when a resident or a traveler dials 911, that connects them with the county of the jurisdiction that they're inside of. Where THP, you have to dial star THP to connect with us for emergency calls.
Yeah, nothing changes about how to reach THP, though. Just dial that pound THP she talked about from any cell phone. The Trump administration has revoked the visas of 6 foreigners deemed by U.S. officials to have made derisive comments or made light of the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk last month.
The announcement came as President Trump was posthumously awarding Kirk America's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The administration and its supporters have targeted people for comments about Kirk, leading to firings or other discipline. But it also raises free speech concerns. The State Department says it reviewed social media posts and clips about Kirk. The visas were revoked from people from Argentina, Brazil, Germany, Mexico, Paraguay, and South Africa.
ABC's Chuck Sievertson. That is the latest news. Traffic is next. I'm
Hear
Joan
what Trump said about ABC? Did you hear what Trump said about ABC? Did you hear that?
Do you have the audio?
I do. We'll play that coming up next.
I love this.
Well, you know what we ought to do? Maybe we ought to put that audio in like our legal ID going into ABC News when we're in automation.
I love it.
Anyway, we'll talk about that coming up next on WTN.
Oh, the cleanup continues on 40 eastbound this morning before Mount Juliet Road exit 226. It's a truck fire cleanup and 3 right lanes remain blocked off by it. Otherwise, this morning on 65 and on 24 westbound, looking good so far. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.538, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I don't understand this super text. Joan, Sam, maybe you guys can help me out.
Okay.
4702, I was talking about Charlie Kirk, right? This is exactly why you, Mandis, are second to none. This is a topic you should have left alone. He was Chris Hand's friend, not yours. A good host and friend would stay away from it and let the one it means the most to cover it. But we've established you're not that. Number one, 4702, you're using the wrong form of your. It's Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, right? Twice he did that. That's not the way talk radio works. Like, we don't just exclusively have topics that are like exclusively ours. And I have my perspective, and Chris is going to have his perspective. And Chris would be the first one. If I didn't talk about this, it would actually be an insult to not only good talk show hosting, but because it's a big story. But also, I mean, Chris would appreciate what I said. I actually mentioned Chris a couple of times in that monologue.
Yeah.
So I don't know what 4702 is talking about. I don't believe that 4702 is a hate listener, because he also said earlier, I guess this was last night, he says, Dan, you should try and get red eye permanently. They get more vacation than anyone I've ever seen. They do get a lot of vacation. But anyway, so moving on from that.
You know what today is? Today is National Grouch Day. So perhaps this guy is just feeling a little grouchy.
Yeah.
4702, maybe just a little grouchy, my friend.
A little backhanded. You are second to none, so I don't know how that's an insult.
I don't know either. I still don't know how to take that whole thing from the whatever it was. What was that again? Tennessee?
The Nashville scene's top
Nashville
conservative.
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm going to try to find a hard copy, and we'll frame it.
You know what? I wonder if we reached out to those people. Just like, don't tell them where you're from, and see if they can give you like something that we could put on like a stupid plaque. Because you know what, Joan? I would actually love to have that right next to my Marconi.
Yes.
So today is National Grouch Day?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's according to Keith, one of the super texters.
Oh, okay.
So he let us know that it is not just National Grouch Day. It is also Global Hand Washing Day and the International Day of Rural Women.
Rural women?
Mm-hmm.
What is a
woman
like
who lives in the rural?
Number one,
like a homesteading wife?
Perhaps a trad wife. Right?
Trad wife.
The fact that we have to use that terminology.
I know.
You know what? If you want to be young and hip like the kids. So who is the best grouch?
Oscar.
You think Oscar?
Hands
Joan?
down. Well, I don't know. What's his name?
Dan Mandis is pretty good grouch.
Yeah. Come on. He yelled at Meathead and his wife. Come on. Who is he?
Wait, who? Say that again, Joan?
He yelled at Meathead.
Oh, Archie Bunker.
Archie Bunker made a wonderful grouch.
He was a good grouch. Archie Bunker was a great grouch. I don't want to date myself.
Yeah.
But remember The Odd Couple? You had Felix and you had Oscar.
Yeah.
So I liked Oscar from the Odd Couple. That's who I liked. But there's a lot of really good grouches out there. I mean, Al Bundy was a great grouch.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
John Goodman and
in Roseanne. He was a great grouch. Groucho Marx says one person. 2133 says, today is also put your stinking phone down and drive your car day.
Dude, I don't know what it is about people driving in Middle Tennessee. You can wait to read the text.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Do you know what happened to me yesterday?
You get a little road rage?
No, I don't get road rage. I made an illegal turn. So this is what I made an illegal turn. And I know that I made an illegal turn. I knew that I did. And I'm not typically a lawbreaker, but I went over the double yellow and made a U-turn because I missed my thing. And there was a cop, like, right there. And I'm just like, all right, man, just pull right on over. Get your license out. Get your insurance or whatever you have to show. Didn't pull me over.
Oh.
He was probably texting.
I was shocked. Yeah, you're right. He's like, I don't want to bother with that guy.
Or after the sugar high from the donut, he fell asleep.
Yeah. Wow.
Sorry,
Joan.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's awful.
My dad called and he wants that joke back.
Bernie Sanders, Great Grouch, Fred Sanford.
How about Walter?
Ooh, no.
Walter?
Chuck Schumer.
Walter from the Jeff Dunham.
Oh, Jeff Dunham's puppet.
Walter.
Oh, yeah, he was really good.
Who's modeled after Chuck Schumer, if you look at it.
Actually, no, he was modeled after Joe Biden.
Is that what he says? Is that what they say?
No, he doesn't. But if you look at Joe Biden and Walter side by side, woof. I'm going to find a picture and put it up on my
Chuck
Instagram.
Schumer's got a similar wit, though.
By the way,
Joe Biden's a spinning machine with no fuel.
Today is actually National Take Your Parents to Lunch Day.
Oh, that's interesting.
So my parents are gone. Joan, I know your father's passed away. Your mother?
I have my mom.
Okay. So
she's 86.
She's 86.
Where it has purple hair.
Your mom's got purple hair?
Yes, she does.
Is she a liberal?
No. She just she's very conservative. She just loves when everybody compliments her on her purple hair. So it's
awesome.
an attention thing.
Wow. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Joan, clearly she needs attention from her
she
daughter.
needs attention.
Does she also jam out to Poison and AC/DC?
She does not.
No, if she's 86, she's probably jamming to Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and Creedence. So there you go. So, Sam, it's up to you now. You got to take and I know that your parents are local. So you got to take your parents to lunch. And luckily, we just got paid, so.
Subway sandwiches on me, Mom and Dad.
There you go. I used to take my mom to lunch when we lived in the same state. Every week, I would take my mom to lunch. Although she had to pay because I had no money.
That's nice.
It's like, Mom, I'll meet you there, and I'll take you to lunch as long as you buy.
I had a really good childhood experience when my dad worked downtown with an office on Washington Square. My mom would drop me off if she had to do something, and he would take me to lunch somewhere on 2nd Avenue or something. I got to see the city, eat at some fun places. I don't know what 10-year-old's going into BB King's for a Caesar salad at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on a Wednesday in downtown Nashville, but that was a pretty core memory for me. So I'll repay him with Subway sandwiches.
I used to take my grandma grocery shopping, because she didn't have a car when she was older. So I'd take her grocery shopping, and then she would take me to lunch.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good trade-off.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Sounds like a good trade-off.
Mm-hmm.
7962 says, Dan doesn't get road rage. He inflicts it. Wow. All right.
Wow.
Listen, whatever. I've made a few people rage.
Also made yourself rage.
Mostly my wives, but whatever. Moving right along from
Floral.
there. Well, I've had two.
Way to sound like an oil chic. My wives.
All right, real quick. You want to hear what Donald Trump said about Hamas? So earlier we were talking about Hamas and how they have not unarmed. They are still in Gaza, and they are summarily executing people. This is what Donald Trump had to say.
They're going to disarm, and because they said they were going to disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
How will you do that?
I don't have to explain that to you. But if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
I want to know what he means by that. Like, how are you going to disarm them? Because if you think about it, I mean, they've got, remember the story yesterday? 7,000 Hamas, fighters taking to the streets of Gaza and summarily just executing people. So, I mean, and y'all know that I'm a big Trump supporter, but how are you going to disarm them?
Hellfire missiles would take their arms off. Disarm them.
You know what? Send them. Okay. Send them a bunch of pagers. That's what you need to do.
That's right.
Here's more.
They know I'm not playing games. Okay? Now, we did something monumental. We got the hostages back. That was the first thing we had to do. Above all else, get the hostages back. Now, they misrepresented because we were told they had 26, 24 of dead hostages, if we can use those terms. And It seems as though they don't have that because we're talking about a much lesser number.
Now, the question is, how big of a deal are those bodies going to be? Like, is this going to be enough for Israel to say, you know what, we're pulling out of the deal? I don't think so. But I understand the consternation and the frustration and the anger that Israel has, and particularly those families that were counting on getting the remains back. And I heard you reporting, Joan, that one of those bodies, there were 4 bodies returned. One of them isn't even a hostage.
It's not a hostage. Yeah.
So Trump is a little ticked. Israel's ticked. And of course, people in America, even though we are incredibly angry, Hamas doesn't have any more negotiating power. They simply don't. So we got to figure out in the next couple of days, what is the response, if any, there will be to the fact that Hamas seemingly is playing games. Number one, they are not returning the bodies. And number two, they're executing people in the streets of Gaza. I know that there's a lot of people, and I might be inclined to be one of them, that will say, you know what, Gaza's problems are Gaza's problems. As long as they're not going after Israel and whatever is happening in Gaza is not our concern. I totally get that. I mean, that's where I kind of am. I mean, we can't solve everyone's problems. I mean, we just got done dealing with Israel and all of that. We got done dealing with Iran. We fixed that as well. Trump has solved all of these different conflicts around the world. Is it really our, you know, you want to do that as a Daily Dan poll? How much do you care that, how should I frame this, Joan? How much do you care that Hamas is still armed and still taking out people in the streets of Gaza? You figure out a way, if you would, Sam, in your college-educated way, to frame that. Here's more Donald Trump.
But that's a very tough subject. I want them back. That's what they said. I want them back. Also, they said they were going to disarm. And initially speaking, they needed, you know, they did take out a couple of gangs that were very bad, very, very bad gangs, and they did take them out, and they killed a number of gang members. And that didn't bother me much, to be honest with you. That's okay. We had a couple of very bad gangs. You know, it's no different than other countries. Like Venezuela sent their gangs into us, and we took care of those gangs. We have Washington, D.C., is one of the safest cities in the country. It was one of the worst cities in the country if you go back just a little while ago, right? Now it's safe. You can walk to work. Isn't it nice? But we have told them we want to disarm.
You know, I don't know if Hamas, did they ever agree to disarm? I don't know if they ever actually agreed to disarm. So now the question is, okay, so if they broke the agreement, which was return all of the remains, disarm, and you have nothing to do with running Gaza. Those were 3 of the big conditions related to Hamas. So now, does this mean that the whole deal, Joan, should be, you know, DOA?
I don't think so. I think we all knew from the beginning that the lines weren't going to be like very, very clear.
Right.
That there was going to be some effort to push Hamas to do what we're telling them to do.
Right.
So, you know,
I think all you've got to do is somehow find a way to kill the leaders of Hamas. And then you've got all of these thousands of people there that are, you know, Hamas. But if they've got no leaders, and then, okay, well, then what do? I don't see them putting their arms down. Mm-hmm. But if Hamas is an organization and a government is rudderless in Gaza, well, then what's next? You do have those technocrats that are supposed to be running Gaza eventually. You've got the peace group or whatever it's called with Donald Trump at the head. Then do you just try to go on and continue to try to rebuild Gaza, even though Hamas hasn't totally left Gaza, has not totally left their positions of power? I mean, does this mean now that there's going to be a civil war of sorts, which we've been talking about this the last couple of days? When this whole thing was announced, one of the first things I said in that monologue was, okay, you've got Hamas, but now you've got all of these other groups or organizations that are also in Hamas, and this means that there is a power vacuum with Israel gone. Now, with that vacuum, you're going to have other organizations that are trying to take over. So ultimately, as Donald Trump, you just heard him say, well, they're taking out, he said they took out a gang. Okay, I don't exactly know what that means, but we'll see where Hamas takes this. And we'll see if, are they simply, and I say that, probably rather, I don't know, whatever, but I mean, simply taking out other gang members or other terrorists or whatever, that is different than taking out, people who just live in Gaza and are trying to live day to day. So I guess we'll have to see how this whole thing shakes out. Let me play one last soundbite from Donald Trump.
And they will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently. But they will disarm. Do you understand me?
Yes. You say
because
quickly.
everyone says, oh, well, they won't disarm. They will disarm. And I spoke to Hamas, and I said, you're going to disarm, right? Yes, sir, we're going to disarm. That's what they told me. They will disarm or we will disarm them. Got it?
Got it, Joan?
Got it.
All right. The question is, did Hamas get it? And if they don't get it, they're going to get it. Got it?
Got it. Good.
Good. Whatever. 5:54. Joan's got the news at 6. Joan.
Hey, a new bounty that's placed on Border Patrol agents' lives. We've got that story coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, if the super text line is any indication, nobody cares about Gaza. And what happens now that the Israeli hostages have been released and sent back to Israel? One person said, as Donald Trump is talking about disarming Hamas, guy says, oh, sure, we can disarm them, disleg them, dishead them, dislife them. See, that's my thing, Joan. Am I a bad person for not caring about what happens in Gaza? Because, and listen, I understand there are millions of people that have to live under this, under this rule.
YouTube chat reflects something a little bit differently.
What do they say? What is the YouTube chat saying?
So the exact phrasing of the question with the YouTubers was, do you care about Hamas being disarmed in general, unrelated to Israel's safety? 65% say yes. 35% say no, they don't care.
Here's my question. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, the 65% saying yes would be the contradiction to the super text line.
Okay, then how do we disarm them? That would be my question. Then, okay, so you've got 7,000 of these Hamas soldiers that are rampaging around Gaza, then what would be their suggestion?
I guess they think,
we're going to send in our troops?
Not my sand, not my problem.
Israel going to send in some troops, to try to take out Hamas? Didn't they just do this? So I don't know what Donald Trump says, and I like what he's saying. We will disarm them, but my question is how?
I mean, if you're insinuating Mossad or the IDF should go in there, then I guess
they just did this
stainless steel Star of David and get it right between the shoulder blade.
I guess. Anyway, it is 6 o'clock. Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So.
Good morning, 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Crews are still out on I-40 in Mount Juliet this morning after several crashes closed a stretch of the eastbound highway between mile markers 221 and 226 just after midnight. There was a 3-car crash, then a tractor-trailer fire, and then another crash involving 3 vehicles. One of them rolled over. 3 right lanes are still blocked off this morning while crews are cleaning up that tractor-trailer fire right at exit 226. You can expect delays there throughout the morning. A violent standoff between Chicago residents and Border Patrol agents yesterday after a couple of illegal immigrants rammed the agents with their car. Reporter Michelle Gallardo is with Chicago radio station WLS.
There was a white Expedition that was being driven by Border Patrol agents chasing a red SUV in circles around the neighborhood, probably for around 30 minutes. And after the accident, we see the occupants of the red vehicle running away, the agents chasing them. And a statement from the Department of Homeland Security, in fact, saying that the driver of the red vehicle rammed them first, saying that is what prompted the chase. And they added that both of the people that were inside that vehicle were undocumented immigrants.
And Border Patrol agents arrested them. But that is when about 50 residents of that neighborhood gathered around the scene, throwing eggs and rocks at Border Patrol agents. They deployed tear gas and managed to disperse that crowd. Meantime, there's a bounty being placed on Border Patrol agents' lives.
The department warned that cartels are offering $2,000 for gathering intelligence on federal officials and their families, often with the goal of doxing them. $5,000 to $10,000 for kidnapping or non-lethal assaults, and up to $50,000 for the assassination of high-ranking officials. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem telling President Trump in a recent cabinet meeting that she's stepping up security.
Snipers on the roof.
Authorities calling the intelligence evidence of a structured bounty program to incentivize violence against federal personnel.
That's ABC's Pierre Thomas. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
A seesaw session ended with the Dow Jones gaining 200 points yesterday, almost 0.5%, and the Nasdaq Composite losing 0.75%. Stuck in the middle was the Standard & Poor's 500, which slipped 0.16%. New warnings from the head of the Fed. Jerome Powell says a slowdown in hiring is a growing threat to the economy. Some Fed watchers say that could signal more interest rate cuts before the end of this year. New car prices are in the fast lane, with the average topping $50,000 for the first time ever. Kelley Blue Book says buyers of new vehicles are paying 3.5% more than they did last year and 25% more than they did in 2020. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And stock futures this morning on the plus side with the Dow futures up 204, NASDAQ gaining 214. S&P futures are plus 44. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, as we said, on 40 eastbound before Mount Juliet Road 226, they're still cleaning up the tractor-trailer fire there. They've blocked off 3 right lanes because of it, so that may cause some delays this morning. Talbot's Corner, 65 southbound at Trinity Lane, exit 87. The right shoulder is blocked off by a crash. And trouble in Woodbine this morning on the westbound side of 24, right at I-440. There's a crash, and the left and right shoulders are blocked off by it. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, 6:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We were joking in the 5 o'clock hour. We did not get to it during the 5:35 segment as teased. So real quick, I want to go through what President Trump said about ABC News. Now, you recall yesterday, just real quick, I got a lot to do in this one segment. So you remember yesterday, we covered this dialogue between George Stephanopoulos and Vice President J.D. Vance, got some video, where you had Stephanopoulos making the accusation, because it really was an accusation. He made the accusation. Nowhere did he say allegedly that Tom Homan took a bribe. Basically, he said, George Stephanopoulos said, Tom Homan took $50,000. Did he keep the money? And so for J.D. Vance, he's being interviewed by George Stephanopoulos, and he said, the way that you're presenting the facts, I mean, there is no there. Now, Stephanopoulos basically accused Vance of not answering the question. This is how that interview ended on ABC.
On an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
He cut him off. He cut him off, and that angered a lot of people. And George Stephanopoulos, let's not forget that Stephanopoulos, he had to pay, or ABC anyway, had to pay the Trump Presidential Library $16 million after Stephanopoulos made accusations against President Trump. And if you recall, Stephanopoulos, it was $15 million. I had to go to a charitable organization because Stephanopoulos had made the false statement that President Trump had been found civilly liable for raping writer E. Jean Carroll. That was incorrect. So Stephanopoulos already has a burn, as you know what, about Donald Trump because Trump sued ABC News and ultimately they settled and Trump won. So on the heels of that yesterday, Donald Trump is in the midst, I guess it was a cabinet meeting, and he's taking questions. And this is what he said to ABC News after George Stephanopoulos cut off J.D. Vance. Listen.
Your ABC fake news. Brian,
first of all, congratulations.
I don't take questions from ABC fake news. After what you did with Stephanopoulos to the Vice President of the United States, I don't take questions from ABC fake news. Brian, go ahead.
Yes, sir. First of all.
So there you go. So President Trump now, I mean, listen.
It just feels so good for him to fight back.
See, that's the thing that I really like. And, you know, it was interesting. They were talking on Red Eye, and I thought it was a good discussion. One of the tenets, I think, of MAGA is, and I've used this term before, I can't remember where I got it, but, you know, this sort of muscular conservatism where you are going to fight back. You are going to say to the mainstream media and people like George Stephanopoulos, no, we're not going to take this. And that's why we're not going to cower to the mainstream media. And so when you look at a Ron DeSantis, when you look at a J.D. Vance, when you certainly look at a Donald Trump or Marco Rubio, they are willing to fight back. They don't put the mainstream media on some sort of a pedestal. And I love that. And so when you look at the principles of conservatism, the principles of MAGA, you also have to look at how they deal with the media, because I think that, at least for me, is a big part of what being, and I'm air quoting, that's a big part of what MAGA is all about.
And the left is coming out saying that, oh, well, you know, Trump's being selective and that way he could control the media narrative and all that. And it's like, guys, you controlled the media narrative. Mainstream media is dominated by the Democratic agenda at this point, whether or not you can see it's on you. And like the Daily Beast, Trump melts down at ABC. He did not. He properly called them out for cutting off the vice president of a country mid-sentence.
Right. And he continued to make the accusation. And by the way, I like what J.D. Vance, and I played all the audio the other day, but, you know, J.D. Vance has said, you know, George, this is why your ratings are down. This is why fewer and fewer people are watching your shows, is because this is the kind of BS that you pull. Speaking of which, did you see what J.D. Vance did to Elizabeth Warren? So she had a post talking about the release of the hostages in Gaza, and she has this long post where she, like Barack Obama, refused to say Donald Trump's name, refused to give him any credit. So J.D. Vance reposts it and quotes it. The president told me he did this on Indigenous Peoples Day in honor of you. You know, because Elizabeth Warren claimed that she was Native American. Very funny. See, I love that too. Another part of, I would say, MAGA is the willingness to make fun of the Democrats. And it would, in the past, you wouldn't see a Republican do something like that. I don't believe that you would. But for J.D. Vance, Ron DeSantis, Marco Rubio, and certainly Donald Trump, I think, and others, yesterday we had the congressman out of New York, Lawler, where he and Hakeem Jeffries were going back and forth and in the hallways of Congress over the big, beautiful bill. And Lawler just absolutely flattened Hakeem Jeffries. And I love that. Now, this is an interesting story. Joan, you and I spoke about this during our pre-show meeting, I think. some members of the Young Republican Club have now been put on full blast after some text messages, some private text messages have been released. And I'm just going to tell you, these text messages, they are appalling, to say the least. Politico got a hold of this group chat. It was on, I guess, Telegram. I've never been on Telegram. I'm reasonably certain, Joan, you have not been either.
I'm not.
All right, very good. Sam, you ever been on Telegram?
No, I'm not that young.
So it's a group messaging chat thing. And so you have some, and you got to realize, this is like maybe 8, 9, 10, 12 people that are on this chat, but they've got some really just insufferable jokes. You know, they joke about, rape, Hitler, gas chambers, that kind of stuff. Really blue humor. I mean, there's no other way to say it. These are really bad jokes.
It's not the platform for it. It's something as an organization you should ever want to be associated with.
Right.
And in this current climate, it is the absolute worst thing that could come out. We've got momentum as a movement, as a culture moving forward.
Right.
This is behind closed doors, say what you want on the privacy of your own home, on your own property talk that I wouldn't condemn if you were at my house, or I would condemn. I said I wouldn't allow if you were at my house.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got to be called out. These people need to be held accountable.
Yeah, at some point, they even joked about they'd be cooked if the contents ever got leaked. And they're talking about, to your point, Sam, and it's a good one, they're talking about young Republicans' business.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, they're talking business, they're talking shop. And as they're talking shop, they're making these jokes. And here's the problem. The problem is that we're not the Democrats, friends, because there's some people out there in conservative circles that are saying, no big deal. Well, we're not the Democrats. We, as conservatism, you talk about the tenets of conservatism, we hold each other accountable. Now, I'm going to put this all in context coming up. 6:15, time to check the roads on WTN. At 6:16, Nashville's Morning News, plenty of sun, pleasant today, a high of 81. Feeling like 82, talking about the Young Republicans Club. And this is, and by the way, I'm going to speak to a young Republican coming up, Matthew Hurt. And I'm going to get his take on this, because I bet she's got a pretty good take. But this is from the story in Politico. The exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages among young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they believe that no one is listening. So to put this in some context, the Young Republicans, it's an organization of about 15,000 people. This group chat is among around a dozen people. So don't condemn the entire organization or the 15,000 people within said organization because of the moronic and stupid jokes of the 12 or so. Some people are saying these people within these chats, these leaders are just blowing off steam. Others are downright horrified at the contents. Now, apparently, Sam and Joan, what's going on, there's some infighting going on within the Young Republicans. So they're saying that these texts were actually leaked by one of the leaders of the Young Republicans in, I think they said, the state of New York. And so you've got all of these leaders that are vying to see who is at the top of the chain there in the Young Republicans. And so part of this was one leader trying to take other leaders down, I guess. But it doesn't matter. They shouldn't be doing this. And certainly they shouldn't be doing this in a chat where they know that they could be released and they could be discovered. Now, putting all that aside, let's also not forget that people on the left have been talking about and saying a lot worse things than this. I mean, I want you to think about this. What about Jay Jones, the attorney general, running for attorney general in the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Virginia? Last time I checked, the Democrats were still supporting Jay Jones, that guy running for, again, attorney general in Virginia. The Democrats have not officially condemned him. So I'm going to be the first guy to say, you know what? Young Republican leaders who were talking about and making jokes about rape and Hitler and gas chambers and all that kind of stuff, jokes that I'm not comfortable relaying to you on the radio, that was bad. But it is far more horrific that the Democrats are still supporting Jay Jones, a guy that sent text messages where he talks about fantasizing about killing his political rival and his kids, where he calls the kids fascists. He also said, maybe if more cops were killed, they would stop shooting people. And very few Democrats have actually renounced Jay Jones.
And the other thing to add to what you're saying about in the context, there's a Socratic ideology that, written text is going to leave out emphasis on things, and that spoken word is the truest form of communication because you can hear the inflection and the emotion in someone's voice. Mm-hmm. And with these, apply what's being said in these messages to a group conversation where people are cutting up. It's dark humor. It's morbid. The things they're saying are gross and wrong. But in the privacy of the right context, people are going to have similar conversations among their friends. Not that this is in any way indicative of what the Republican Party should stand for, and not that this is in any way acceptable behavior from people who consider themselves professionals, young professionals that are trying to make their way in the world to further the narrative and the culture. Shame on you for thinking that this is appropriate in any work-related context whatsoever, or what you do in the privacy of your home, you have a right to that under the First Amendment. By all means, express yourselves. But now that it's been made public, you have shamed us and shamed everybody associated with you.
And here's the other thing: they're stupid. They're stupid for doing this. That's the other thing.
Yeah,
like if you are a leader of a big Republican organization, right? You know that y'all don't get along. I mean, good Lord, we saw that when they held their convention here a couple of months ago. Remember that whole thing where there's a lot of infighting? So knowing that, and you see this in any organization, by the way, where there's a lot of infighting. So alliances change. So, for example, if Sam and I are really good friends, and he and I are texting back and forth and, we're saying some really inappropriate things. Well, then what happens when Sam decides that he doesn't like me anymore? He's going to release these text messages or leak them somehow. These folks need to be smarter than this. Mm-hmm. Alliances change. That's number one. Number two, you shouldn't be putting these things in text messages anyway. You shouldn't be saying things like this either because it's just backwards and wrong thinking. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it. You've got to be smarter. You shouldn't be thinking about, you shouldn't be making these kinds of jokes in the first place. But you also can't take out the entire young Republican Party on the ignorance of these 10 or 12. You just can't.
And to what you said earlier about when it comes to the left and what they say, also what they do.
Well, that's exactly right.
Find me the last politically motivated catastrophic event that was caused by the right.
Well, there isn't. I mean, you look at the left and their constant calls for violence, even after Donald Trump's assassination, their constant name-calling of Donald Trump and Republicans, and, of course, their vile reactions to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So, to me, ignorance, stupid, dumb, but nowhere in the Politico article, they talk about how, this is indicative of how the Republicans, speak when they think that nobody is looking. You know what? Okay, Politico, why don't you talk about what the Democrats proudly do? Openly say, which is they're supporting, Jay Jones out there in Virginia. So as conservatives, we have to hold each other accountable, unlike the Democrats who simply don't. But that being said, you also have to put this whole thing in the proper perspective, which I believe that we just did. 623, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'll be asking Matthew Hurt what his opinion of all of this is, because he is one of those folks who runs in young Republican circles. As a matter of fact, one of the things that Matthew does is he sort of trains up young Republican future leaders. And so I'm really anxious to hear what he has to say about all this. Right now, though, it's 6:24. Anxious to hear what Joan Jones has to say about the news at 6:30.
Yeah, we're going to tell you why illegal immigrants can now live rent-free in L.A. That's coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, Hey, Joan, you see what Gavin Newsom said about Joe Rogan?
About Joe Rogan? No.
Yeah. Oh, wait till you hear. I'm going to mention this again, my conversation with Matthew Hurt. Going to talk about what Gavin Newsom said about Joe Rogan and a whole lot more straight ahead on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. You know, the other day I'm over at a friend's house. He is pumped to watch football. His setup, though, total mess, lagging, buffering, switching between apps, trying to find the game. Now, he claimed, my friend claimed, of course, that he was a big fan, but I feel like I'd been fan-fished. Now, if you call yourself a football fan, you've got to have Xfinity. Now, I've got all the best games at my house, all in one place, plus enhanced 4K, so it feels like I'm actually in the stadium. So next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Now, you want to call my friends at Xfinity, 1-800-XFINITY to get started. Find them online, Xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today. Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming. Again, give them a call, 800-XFINITY. Find them online, Xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only, taxes and fees extra, and subject to change.
Good morning. It's now 6:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Israel is threatening to cut aid to Gaza if the 20 remaining deceased hostages are not returned quickly by Hamas. Now, this news comes after one set of those remains that were sent to Israel recently have been determined to not be one of the hostages.
There are 2 U.S. citizens amongst the deceased hostages, and we spoke to the father of Itar Khan, Ruby Khan, and he said that waiting for his son to return is agonizing. He said he met President Trump when he was here in Israel, and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco Rubio, and said he told them that the job is not done.
That's correspondent Ian Pannell there speaking about the U.S. citizens, the 2 U.S. citizens among the deceased hostages. Their remains have not been returned. In Los Angeles last night, officials voted to declare a state of emergency because of ICE officials making arrests of illegal immigrants. And with that proclamation, the county has ordered landlords to allow illegal immigrants to live in their homes rent-free. Residents can get those illegal residents can get other financial support too, including state funds for legal services. One board member voted against this, though, Catherine Barger. She said the federal government has the sole authority to enforce federal immigration law. And 7 National Guardsmen who deployed to Illinois recently have been replaced and recalled to Texas. Texas National Guard wouldn't say why they were recalled, but the action came after a photo showed a group of service members arriving in Illinois that went viral. They were critical, speculating about their fitness. Those men were a little wide in the midsection. A Texas National Guard spokesperson responded, saying his unit does echo Secretary of War Pete Hegseth's message about standards remaining uncompromised just before those guardsmen were recalled.
You know, Joan, all they've got to do is go to Contours.
Is that all they
for
have
that
to do,
Belly
Dan?
Buster special?
Yeah.
$99. I'm just totally kidding. Go on, Joan.
But they could.
They could.
Yeah, that is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Think of Joan, 632, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 615-737-9986 is the Super Text line. Lots of feedback today. Appreciate that. Loan Pronto. Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every single month? Well, stop, because right now at Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. That's right. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars every single month. Lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal is needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can actually skip your next 2 house payments entirely. That's right. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last long. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. 615-499-5780. Visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. Don't let high rates hold you back. Call them. 615-499-5780. LoanPronto.com is the website, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Dan Mandis here, and want to tell you about my friends at King and Associates. Listen, if you need to save money on insurance, check out my friends at King and Associates Insurance. Now, so many of my listeners have reached out and let me know that they have been able to save and save big with King and Associates. One guy that I know, his 16-year-old daughter got into a car accident, but they still saved him thousands of dollars when the time came for new insurance. You know why? Because at King & Associates Insurance, they know that life happens. And as independent agents, they can find you the best deal for your family. They're going to weed out the non-competitive companies and find the best options for you and keeping the communication flawless. King & Associates know it's not only relationships with the best companies around, but also bundling home and auto. King & Associates Insurance, they are going to fight for the best deal possible. You owe it to yourself to make that phone call, 615-321-8121, 8121 to find out what is the best deal you can get on home and auto as a business, family, or individual. Save money. Get great insurance with King & Associates Insurance, 615-321-8121, tkinginsurance.com.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
Okay, there was that big trouble spot on 40 eastbound overnight, just before Mount Juliet Road. They're saying that they have cleared away the tractor trailer that caught on fire. By the way, that tractor trailer was full of clothing material. So that went up into flames. They had 3 lanes blocked off because of it, heading eastbound. We're just learning that the roadways have been opened up, but it's still going to be very slow in that area this morning. Mount Juliet on 40 eastbound, they're saying, there's another crash at the Wilson-Davidson County line. Also, Talbot's Corner, 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. There's a crash on the right shoulder. And then on 24 westbound, this is Woodbine at I-440. They're still working a crash scene with the right shoulder blocked off. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.639 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Matthew Hurt, grassroots political analyst, is joining us here on Super Talk. Matthew, always great to have you on. And I know that you sometimes have the opportunity to listen to the first 30 minutes before you come on. So I don't know if you heard me talking about what happened over at the Young Republicans. Is that what the Young Republicans organization, where they have, according to Politico, there's a bunch of text messages that have been released, and there's a lot of off-color jokes and so forth. By the way, I should mention that it seems like they're admitting that there is some truth to these text messages, but they also say, well, we can't say that all of these haven't been altered or some of these have not been altered and so forth. But, you know, the bottom line is, what do you think about this story, and how big of a deal is it to you? As somebody, by the way, in your day job, what you do is you train up the future conservative leaders of America.
Yeah, Dan, I caught a little bit of this last night. What I've learned this morning, it looks like one of the New York Young Republicans, I don't want to use the word extorted, but basically pressured one of his members to release text messages, and then that individual, Gavin Wax, submitted them to Politico. Look, I'm in group text. We share memes. We share funny jokes. It seems like this line of conversation was pretty serious. Earlier this year or late last year, there was a factional debate and campaign between two separate factions of Young Republicans. This group seems like a bunch of the ones who lost those national elections. I'll say this: in reading the Politico story, it was comforting to see that not a single Virginia Young Republican was involved in this, because it is mostly a distraction from what we're trying to accomplish in Virginia. It's unfortunate. That some of these young men and women engaged in the kind of conversation they've engaged in. But you know, it's just unfortunate to see.
You know what I call this? You know what I call this, Matthew? I call this a learning moment, a teachable moment.
It is certainly a teachable moment. Understanding that if there's more than one person in a group text, then that is not a private group text. And you can look back to former Speaker of the Tennessee House, Glenn Cassida, to understand that if more than one person is in a group text, then those group texts can be leaked to the press or to whatever, and can get you in a whole lot of trouble.
But it is also worth, and then I'm going to move on, but it is also worth saying and pointing out that this is a 15,000 member organization. The board of directors have come out and denounced these text messages. The ones who did this, they're no longer part of the organization. They've had jobs rescinded. I don't know. It seems like is it safe to say that let me ask it this way. If they are indicted, if you will, in this situation, then how do they recover?
Yeah, well, look, I think it will definitely set time. Even as I staff members of the Trump administration, I'm looking for staff, or I'm looking for campaign staff out in the States. I had a young man whose resume I moved over to a campaign, and then the campaign did some digging, and he had a similar story, and they decided not to move forward with him as an employee. And so that is something that you have to be conscious of, that these kinds of conversations, be they written or even in person, what you share with people could come back and bite you. And so I think a lot of these young people who are in the group text are going to learn to find jobs in the private sector outside of politics for a while. But nobody is. Few people are irredeemable, and if these young men and women learn over the next few years, they may find their way back in politics.
So we have over on the Democrat side, and in your state, we have another text message controversy. Abigail Spanberger is running to be the governor against Winsome Sears. Sears is the Republican. Spanberger is the Democrat. The Attorney General, and you and I have been speaking about this for a while, the Attorney General, the guy running for Attorney General on the Democrat side, a guy by the name of Jay Jones, he's sent some really nasty text messages as well, basically saying that he wanted his political rival and his two children, whom, by the way, he called, I think, little fascists, shot. And he also said that, you know, maybe if you know, police officers stopped shooting people, then there would be less cops shot. I mean, this is a real piece of work, Jay Jones, and the Democrats, they seem hell bent on supporting this guy.
Well, and we had a gubernatorial debate with Abigail Spanberger, the Democrat, and Winsome Sears, the Republican, last Thursday. This was a signature aspect of the debate. What I can tell you is on the ground, it is a poll-moving issue. Trafalgar Group at the beginning of the week had Jason Miyares, the Republican Attorney General candidate, up 6 points. And Winsome Sears within about 2.5 points. And then we have a lieutenant governor race as well, the Republican now within about a point of that race. There is an attorney general debate tomorrow night at the University of Richmond School of Law at 5 p.m. Central Time. And I think that Jason Miyares, the Republican candidate, is going to make this a signature point of the debate. Is Jay Jones fit to uphold the law, to defend the law in courts? And if we know that this is the kind of heinous view he has against his political opponents, can he treat people fairly? And I think the answer is no, and I think Jason Miyares, again, the Republican candidate for Attorney General, will make a strong case. And just as a shout-out, Dan, there's some lovely Tennessee activists led by Beth Campbell and some others. They call themselves the Strike Force, who are driving up to Virginia, to Roanoke and other parts of Virginia to knock doors, because this is how close this race is.
Listen, make sure when you talk to them that they can still listen to my show on YouTube, even in Virginia.
You can listen live online. You can engage on YouTube in the chat. There's so many ways to catch Nashville's Morning News, Dan. I catch it all the time.
It's all about me. It's all about me.
But that shows the national spotlight. The RNC is coming in with more money. It was reported yesterday. There are a wave of new ads. I was sitting at lunch yesterday in a restaurant, and on network television, I saw a Jason Miyares ad about the text messages. So this is an issue that is front and center. You and I are political nerds, and many of your listeners are clued in, and so they've heard us talking about this. But a lot of Virginians don't know, and as they start to learn, even independents and some Democrats are turned off by this.
So speaking of being turned off, Gavin Newsom and Joe Rogan have been going back and forth. Joe Rogan says of Gavin Newsom that he's terrible, and he blames Gavin Newsom for the decline of California. Newsom snapping back on X, saying Rogan was too chicken to have him on Rogan's podcast and expose his listeners to the truth. And then he starts talking, Gavin Newsom, about how great California is. And he also called Joe Rogan a snack-sized podcaster who can't stop talking about me, and he goes on, but is too scared to have him on and let his audience hear the truth. I think it's interesting. He then goes on, Newsom does, to call Donald Trump, just like Dozy Dawn, he often chickens out. Gavin Newsom, is he being authentic, or is he sort of, I don't know, trying to play this whole thing up as somebody that he is not really genuinely like in real life?
You know, I think Gavin Newsom is trying to carve himself out as like the Donald Trump with the bluster and the insults. I think he's trying to do that on the left. We see that from his press shop Twitter account or his X account. Right. You know, there's an opportunity. Charlie Kirk and Gavin Newsom had a conversation in a podcast, and at the end of it, they agreed to disagree on a number of issues. I think it is a benefit to listeners to have somebody like Gavin Newsom on a show like the Joe Rogan podcast. But I do think this exposes a little bit of, and I love listening to Joe Rogan, but he is ignorant in the sense that his understanding of the political space is pretty shallow, and he tends to let the guest drive the conversation. This is something that anytime Joe Rogan has Bernie Sanders on the show, you can tell there's a recency bias where Rogan will reference Bernie Sanders and his policies for the next 2, 3, 4 shows. And so if a strong political force like a Gavin Newsom were to go on the show, it would be difficult, I think, for Joe to navigate around a guy who's been in the political space for a while. That said, I think it would be beneficial. But Newsom is clearly carving himself out as the left-wing insult guy to try to break through the news. His press account is always tweeting insulting things at Trump, and this is what we're going to see as we go into 2028, the next presidential election. I think Newsom is angling to be the front runner among Democrats.
You know what's interesting, though? Just compare and contrast, right? So Newsom is trying to be like Trump. Trump has always been like this. Newsom has not always been like this. And for some reason, Trump is truly genuine when he does what he does. For Newsom, it just comes off as he's being a jerk. And for some reason, with Trump, and maybe it's my own conservative bias, but with Trump, it's just Trump being Trump, and that's what he does. And oftentimes, Trump is responding to somebody attacking him. Newsom he looks the part of just a slimy a-hole politician who is saying things just to be a bully.
Yeah, Donald Trump is New York Donald Trump. He's always been New York Donald Trump, and Gavin Newsom is a used car salesman. And so the delivery for both of these is very different. I think that people know what to expect from Trump. This is how he is, and it is okay. Gavin Newsom, it just feels slimy. You know, you got to wash your hands.
I don't know. All right, real quick, because I got a couple more things. All right, so real quick, Israel. So I'm sure you know the very latest. Hostages released. We still have some, unfortunately, hostage remains. Hamas has not released. We have Hamas rampaging through Gaza. They've still got their guns. They're still in Gaza. They are executing, I guess, their enemies there in Gaza. So President Trump, of course, big victory lap in the Middle East. This is huge deal, huge news. Where do you see this whole thing going from here?
You know, this is historic, and even Democrats held off through the weekend, but even Jake Sullivan, formerly of the Biden administration, and Congressman Moskowitz, a Democrat from Florida, and others are coming out saying this is big. Donald Trump went and spoke before the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, early in the week, and then went to Egypt. He was praising the entire situation, talking about the Abraham Accords, which was a significant victory in the first Trump administration, securing Israel's place in the Middle East, possibly bringing more countries into that agreement. I think it's significant, and I think that this is I can't even overstate how significant the Trump victory over the situation in Gaza is. Now, how does that play out? I think we're going to see a significant amount of aid go into Gaza. I believe the agreement says that nobody involved in Hamas can be involved in the government of the Palestinian people. It remains to be seen. I'm a little skeptical of external peacekeeping forces, places like the UN. They have a poor track record of executing on peace and things like this. But it is a significant win for the Trump administration. It is Nobel Peace Prize worthy victory. That's what this is, and it is significant in the Middle East. I think President Trump's optimism is driving the conversation, and I hope that we can see a practical resolution of this on the ground between the people of Israel and Palestinians.
You know, I've only got a minute left. Matthew Hurt joining us, but your thoughts on Charlie Kirk's Day of Remembrance yesterday and receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom and Erica Kirk's speech?
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking to watch his parents. I can't imagine what it's like to lose a child and what the anguish and the grief. This is a wonderful honor to bestow upon a man who fought for the cause of freedom of speech. But again, the tragedy and the horror is real to the parents, is real to Erica Kirk. And I just wish them peace and comfort as they continue to grieve.
All right, Matthew, how can people find you on Twitter? I think Joe Rogan has a thing or two to say to you. So what's your Twitter on X?
Hopefully he'll tweet at me. It's Matthew Hurt, MattheWHurtt.
All right, we'll talk to you next time. Matthew Hurt, appreciate you being with us. And you, folks, appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. Joan's got the news at 7. Joan.
Yes, some missing kids recovered in Memphis. Also, a surviving employee at AES talks about safety at that munitions company. Those stories coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thanks, Joan. 6:54. You know, if you've ever wanted to live by the lake, you've got to listen because this coming Saturday, a huge opportunity for you. Maybe it's a second home. Maybe it's a retirement home. Tennessee National has you covered because they have a huge event coming up this Saturday. Their Tennessee National Lakefront Resort, Golf, and Marina Community. They're releasing brand new phases of lots coming up on Saturday, October 18th. That's right. Now, with this, they've got great deals. Cottage packages with boat slips, they are starting at $379.9. Home sites with 40-mile views and covered boat slips, they are starting at $99.9. And move-in ready homes and custom builds as well. They've got lot sizes up to 7 acres as well. The amenities at Tennessee National, 20 minutes outside of Knoxville, by the way, are amazing. They've got pickleball courts. They've got swimming pools. They've got a coffee shop and a marina, hiking trails, and a whole lot more. Now, these new phase lot releases are happening this coming Saturday, October 18th. Check them out today. Find them online, TennesseeNational.com. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. TennesseeNational.com. Secure your private tour, 865-408-9992, 865-408-9992. Memories begin here at Tennessee National.
It's almost like the
morning. It is 7 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. 3 more deceased hostages remains were returned to Israel overnight. And Hamas is expected to return more today. But there's word that one of the sets of remains already turned over doesn't match any of the missing Israelis. A riot broke out in Chicago yesterday over the arrest of a couple of illegal immigrants who used their SUV as a weapon against ICE agents.
Homeland Security officials say an undocumented immigrant inside an SUV tried to flee from being arrested and rammed into a Border Patrol vehicle. A chase followed, with agents then crashing into the SUV to stop it. 2 people fled on foot but were eventually arrested. Residents nearby gathering at the scene, the crowd growing hostile, throwing eggs at federal agents, then rocks. Agents responding by firing tear gas. Several people were arrested.
ABC's Nicole D'Antonio there. Well, since the beginning of the Memphis State Task Force 2 weeks ago, with federal agents helping crack down on crime, more than 850 arrests have been made. And now Tennessee Bureau of Investigation Director David Roush says they're also recovering missing kids. 45 of them. Some of them are runaways.
On about 4 or 5 occasions that we have made referrals over to DCS where the child needed to be removed from the situation. Some of those are just having the conversations with the parents about where they're running to and the services that the family needs.
Roush also saying that in some cases, the children were living with adults who are not their relatives or guardians. Those adults are now facing charges. An employee who clocked out hours before the deadly explosion at AES last week is sharing her take about safety at the munitions facility. Jade Began spoke with Channel 4.
I've got mixed emotions about that. You know what you sign up for whenever you go into a line of work like this. If I didn't feel safe being in that building, I wouldn't work there, you know. They took every safety precaution possible to try and prevent something like this from happening. So I'm still on the fence on if I'm going to go back or not.
She had been employed at AES for only 3 months before the blast. Now, there's another press conference update scheduled for this evening. The Senate is going to vote for a 9th time on a clean bill to fund the federal government this afternoon, but it's not likely that it will result in any changes. And that's empowering President Trump to continue federal layoffs.
We're closing them up, and we're not going to let them come back.
Around 4,200 federal workers have received layoff notices since October 1st. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures pointing up with the Dow futures plus 222 right now. NASDAQ futures gaining 198. S&P futures are plus 42. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, there's some problems this morning in Hendersonville. It's Vietnam Veterans Boulevard westbound at New Shackle Island Road. It's a crash reported right at their at that exit 6 there, and it's stop and go all the way back from Indian Lake Boulevard. Now, in Glencliff on 40 westbound, you've got an accident at Spence Lane. In Talbot's Corner on 65 southbound side, the crash is on the right shoulder at Trinity Lane. East Nashville, an accident at Ellington Parkway southbound at Broadmoor, and then in Woodbine, 2 on 24 westbound at I-440. The right shoulder is blocked. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you. You know, Joan, one of the questions that keeps being asked is what happens when the Memphis Safe Task Force leaves Memphis?
Yeah.
I heard you talking about how they've recovered, 45 missing children?
Correct. There's, I think, 187, and they've recovered 45 of them.
Now, and you said they found them living with who?
Some have been found living with people who were not their relatives or their guardians, and the insinuation there is that they're trafficked children.
Right.
Yes.
So when Biden was in office, one of the things that we talked about all the time was all of these missing kids all across the country. I forget, the New York Times had this big, massive report on this. And, you know, it was no surprise to any of us that had been covering the disaster that was the Biden administration with all of these kids coming across the border. And nobody really knew where they were going or who they were going to stay with, and they lost them.
Yes.
The Biden administration literally lost hundreds of thousands of kids.
Yes. These are the people that were concerned about kids in cages.
Oh, yeah.
When it turned out to be during the
Obama administration. That's exactly right.
Yes.
So the governor was in, I guess, Memphis yesterday. And in addition to those 45 missing children, I don't know if you had this part of the story, but they have also made 854 arrests of violent criminals and known gang members. And they have seized 180 illegal guns as well. So one of the reporters on scene asked Governor Lee, okay, so what about the fact that I'm going to have to paraphrase the question, but what about the people, Memphians, who live in Memphis, and they're afraid of the federal authorities and the state, law enforcement as well, who have this surge in Memphis. And, you know, people in the community, this reporter apparently said, they're afraid of all of this law enforcement. This is what the governor said.
What I want every Memphian to know, every person that lives in this city, is the goal is to remove crime from the streets. That is the goal of what we're doing here. If you're here illegally and you commit a crime, then obviously ICE is going to be involved in that. But the effort, the goal, the purpose is to go after crime in this city.
I mean, I like what the governor is saying.
Yeah.
The whole purpose is to go after crime. You know what is stunning, and there's a little bit more on this, but one of the other stories, apparently now, because we spoke about, I think it was last week, where the acting leader of ICE, there's a bounty on his head. I forget the guy's name, but one of the drug kingpins put a bounty on that dude's head of like $10,000, $12,000, something like that. And the Democrats were completely silent on that, had nothing to say about that. And now in Los Angeles, I heard in one of your previous reports, ICE, now they've got bounties on, you know, the agents that are on the ground. They've got bounties they're looking for, the drug kingpins and so forth. They're looking for information on who these ICE agents are. They want information so that they can dox them. They want information so that they can, on their families as well, so that they can do Lord knows what to these law enforcement agents. And the Democrats are silent. And in a time where we have a number of things going on, and I would ask Afton Bain this question if she would ever have the guts to come on this show or this station. Well, you know what? Next time she comes on Murphy Show, I would ask her this question. So when you are out there advocating for the unmasking of ICE, whether it is in Tennessee or wherever, you're advocating for their unmasking. You are advocating essentially for their doxing. Then what do you have to say about these drug kingpins, these drug lords that are now putting bounties on the heads of these members of ICE? And then what happens when they ultimately end up getting murdered? Will you change your tune, Afton Bain, running for the 7th? Will you change your tune about having them unmasked? Probably not, because the Democrats, in my opinion, on most issues, they don't look at these things rationally. And I think that these ICE agents, they are in legit danger. And when you have people like Afton Bain demanding that they be unmasked, it just leads to more danger. And so when Governor Lee says all we're trying to do is we're trying to make Memphis safe again, well, he's absolutely right. I mean, what kind of a nut job would choose illegal alien gang members over ICE agents? Afton Bain. Yes, yeah. Sam.
Well, and in his interview with the local news in Memphis, District Attorney Steve Mulroy gave some of the worst non-answers to questions I've ever seen. The reporter interviewing him asks him initially about his thoughts on the Trump administration backing Governor Lee sending the National Guard, and he immediately launches into how, this is their politicking as usual.
Politicking as usual.
Yeah, yeah, and then he starts going in on Senator Taylor being 0 for 5 against him,
Taylor, yeah.
With ethics complaints and all this stuff. And then he's almost complaining about the fact that they've seen a 52% increase in felony cases, a 30% increase in misdemeanors. And then this is the case why we need to have a night court. It's why you need more police officers policing the streets of Memphis.
Well, and here's the thing. You have more cops out there. I'm gonna play the rest of this Governor Lee audio. But you put more cops on the street. Not only does that help the current criminal situation, but it also discourages future criminals. And so if you've got a 13, 14-year-old out there on the streets of Memphis and you got law enforcement out there, then you know what? They're maybe going to stay in and, I don't know, maybe do some homework, maybe do something productive.
Actually, you make a really good point, because a local resident, president of the Stop the Killing, Cut the Beef down in Memphis, has called for these young men to find other activities. Don't give law enforcement a reason.
Yeah, find something else to do, man. I mean, go learn. Did you see what Home Depot's doing? Oh, gosh. All right,
Don't get Joan started about Home Depot, please.
No.
Come on now.
Home Depot's doing something really cool. We're going to finish all of this coming up next. It is 7:15 traffic time on WTN. Plenty of sun today, pleasant, high of 81, going to feel like 82. Thanks for listening. Here's more from Governor Lee in Memphis. This was yesterday.
Well, if they're not a criminal element, then they shouldn't be afraid. That's the goal of what we're doing here. Right, sir? That's the goal. We're trying to make the criminal element be removed from the street so people aren't afraid to go out, so children aren't afraid to go to a playground. That's the goal of what we're accomplishing here. And that's the message to everyone that lives in the city. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you're here legally and you're not doing anything wrong, well, then there's nothing to worry about. Now, you were talking about this guy that told kids in Memphis, will you please find something else to do? I could see myself telling that to a 13, 14-year-old
Get off
running.
my lawn.
Yeah, his name is Keith Leachman. He's the president of Stop the Killing, Cut the Beef down in Memphis, a community activist. And he had this to say when being interviewed by Action 5.
You ever seen THP right here on right here before?
No. Been a lot of state troops around. They actually on my street yesterday, 60 cars deep.
The Memphis Safe Task Force showing up in Orange Mound.
I had one of my football players get arrested, maybe about 2 days ago in Orange Mound.
Keith Leachman, president and founder of Stop the Killing, Cut the Beef, has worked in the Orange Mound community for years, pushing for peace. Reaching out to the youth is a large part of his efforts, especially with the Memphis Safe Task Force in Memphis.
You know, the active guys, I know there's active young guys and older guys. Let them stand down, man. Don't make it worse. Cooperate with the law enforcement if they stop you. Show some respect. Let them go on by the way.
I mean, I love that, and I don't know this guy. Maybe we can get him. Let's try to get him on.
Yeah,
Sam?
I'll reach out.
So let's try to get him on. I do wonder if he also, and we're going to play the rest of that audio, but I do wonder if he also, in telling the kids find something else to do, is he also calling out the parents? Because if you've got a 12-year-old, and I've said this forever, if you've got a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, 14-year-old that's running around on the streets, then you obviously have a child problem, but you also have a parenting problem. There was a story, this was in, of course, shocker, this was in Chicago. I mean, this was years ago, and a 12-year-old was gunned down on the streets of Chicago. I think, and I'm paraphrasing now this story because I don't remember it, but 12-year-old running around, dodging the police. He ultimately got shot to death by the police. It was a 12-year-old, and the cops thought that he had a gun. I don't remember if he did have a gun, but I remember saying at the time, okay, so this was at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. The parents are out there blasting the police, and I remember saying, okay, parents, how is it that your kid was out at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning on the south side of Chicago?
Was it Adam Toledo?
Maybe.
13-year-old Latino-American boy was shot and killed by Chicago Police Department at 2:38 in the morning.
Yeah. What is your kid? I'm not, did he have a gun? I don't remember. Here's the problem, friends. There's so many of these stories, but the cops thought that he had a gun. It was something about maybe the gun was in his jacket, but police thought that he had a gun. Or maybe he stashed it. Did he have a gun?
Toledo, Officer Stillman's body cam video recording was released showing Toledo running away and dropping a handgun before he turned towards Stillman and raised his empty hands.
Yes, that's it. And the parents were all up in arms. Oh, my baby. And it's like, I'm sorry, but your 12-year-old was running around at 2:38 in the morning with a gun on the south side of Chicago.
Yeah. Which if you type in 12, 13-year-old shot near Chicago, the stories just keep flowing.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Governor Bill Lee says the federal Memphis State Task Force is going to remain deployed forever, actually. Apparently, that's what he said yesterday.
I have that audio. I just looked for it. I just found it. Want to hear it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, hang on here. Now I'm challenged.
Joan, if you offered it up.
Yeah, I know. I should be able to just.
You know what happens to Joan? The same thing happens to me, Joan, where it's like, oh, I've got that audio, and then I've got like 15 to 20
pieces
windows
of audio.
open.
Yeah.
Windows
okay.
open.
I have it now. You ready? Here we go.
That surge will diminish at some point. But what we learned from that surge, the collaboration that is happening right now between the U.S. Marshal Service and the Memphis Police Department and the FBI and the DEA and the Tennessee Highway Patrol, that collaboration that in some ways has never been this effectively executed, that collaboration will be here from now on.
There you go.
So this operation in some ways may never end. It'll just change in its scope.
Love it.
There you go.
Listen, I think these cities need this.
Yeah.
I mean, they can be, the people in Memphis who are, because that question by that reporter, well, what about the people in Memphis who are scared? of law enforcement. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
what about those children who are being trafficked within your city who have just been rescued?
Yes,
that's
exactly
where my heart is. Like, holy cow!
Also, let's not forget that the media, and I don't know who asked that question, whatever, but let's not forget that the media, they are so knee-jerk inclined to be anti anything regarding Donald Trump or ICE or conservatives these days, that it actually is a really silly question. Because the people in Memphis, and we've seen this, we saw this during the Summer of Love, right, 2020. We've seen this in a lot of different places, certainly in Washington, D.C., where people that live in these communities, they're actually appreciating law enforcement. They feel safer because law enforcement is out there. So, bottom line is, if you're not doing anything wrong and if you're here legally, well, then what is the problem? And there's all kind, and I've played all the audio. I've made the point 1,000 times since this whole thing started. There are people out there that are welcoming the law enforcement because it does make their community safer, and they're able to walk down the street and not have, any real issues because the law enforcement is there. And here's the other point, to the guy that said the kids have to find other things to do. So you back up a generation and you look at the 8, 9, 10-year-olds that are not inflicted yet with the, gang mentality or whatever. Well, maybe with all of that law enforcement, they will find better things to do. And maybe their parents will say, yeah, you know what? Maybe I don't want to see my kid die in a hail of gunfire. And actual parenting will go on as well. We'll have to wait and see. But I think this is really good news that Governor Bill Lee is saying that, yeah, this surge in one way or another will go on for quite some time. Forever, basically, is what he said. Because remember, and I love Tennessee. It is my adopted state. And I would say that Tennessee will never be all that it can be as long as we have Memphis. And as bad as Memphis is, and of course, Nashville has its own issues as well. So you've got Governor Lee. And, I'm not always the biggest fan of Governor Lee, but if we can make Memphis great, I don't know, again, was Memphis ever great? I'm sure that it was. If we can make Memphis great again, MMGA, well, then that is better for all of us, even those of us here in Nashville. All right, it is 7:23. Jones got the news at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, another floating drug vessel is blown up near Venezuela. Also, why the visas of some foreigners have just been revoked by the Trump administration. Those stories at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 7:24 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. How many Venezuelan drug boats have we blown up anyway?
I think that was 5.
I think this is 5, right?
5. And there were 6 Venezuelan drug gang members on board that vessel yesterday.
Okay, very good.
Mm-hmm. I got your numbers right here, buddy.
I'm not going to, sympathize with, drug dealers that are trying to bring drugs. Eventually, they'll just run out of cockroaches.
Yeah.
All right. 7:24. Dan Mandis here, the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Now, right now, they have the Big Daddy Trump special. It's what they're calling it. $12 for a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. Again, $12. A great deal from the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Call them today, 615-246-5009. If you've got chronic back or neck pain, sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness or weakness in the arms and legs, fingers and toes, well, they can help you. Now, when I came to Tennessee, I did have chronic back and neck pain. They helped me, and they can help you as well with their state-of-the-art, non-surgical spinal decompression. No surgery, no spinal injections, and no painkillers. So if you're in pain, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they can help you. The website, painisbad.com. Don't forget that great special, $12 for a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment. That phone number, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com.
Good morning. It is now 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. President Trump announcing yesterday that the U.S. military carried out another strike on a suspected drug vessel off the coast of Venezuela, killing 6 suspected smugglers.
Venezuela says the latest U.S. strike on a suspected drug boat is a violation of international rights. But President Trump says the U.S. attacked the boat in international waters, killing 6 drug traffickers. It's the 5th U.S. missile strike on a boat off Venezuela in recent months.
ABC's Faith Abube there. Now, starting today, the Tennessee Highway Patrol is using a new phone system. It routes calls over a private network rather than the public internet. THP says the call quality will improve, and so will dependability. Nothing changes about how to reach THP. Just dial pound THP from any cell phone. The Trump administration has revoked the visas of 6 foreigners deemed by the U.S. officials to have made divisive comments or made light of the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
The announcement came as President Trump was posthumously awarding Kirk America's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. The administration and its supporters have targeted people for comments about Kirk, leading to firings or other discipline. But it also raises free speech concerns. The State Department says it reviewed social media posts and clips about Kirk. The visas were revoked from people from Argentina, Brazil, Germany, Mexico, Paraguay, and South Africa.
ABC's Chuck Sievertson. Well, they've been preparing the site for months. Yesterday was the official groundbreaking for the Buc-ee's in Murfreesboro, with Governor Bill Lee in attendance. Buc-ee's is set to open there in December of 2026. That is the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, if you have ever wanted to live by the lake, it's a dream of mine, just to let you know. I got a great opportunity for you. If you are a lake lover, listen up. Tennessee National Lakefront Resort, Golf, and Marina Community, they're releasing a brand new phase of lake lots, one day only, coming up this Saturday, October 18th. Now, again, if you've always wanted to live by the lake, maybe a retirement home, maybe a second home, this is your opportunity. Listen to this. They've got cottage packages with boat slips from $379.9. Home sites with 40-mile views and covered boat slips, those are starting at only $99.9. They've got move-in ready homes. They've got custom builds. They've got lot sizes up to 7 acres. And they've also got incredible amenities as well. They've got pickleball and swimming pools and coffee shops. And the marina is amazing. Hiking trails and a whole lot more. Now, don't forget, that is this coming Saturday, October 18th, a new phased lot release from my friends at Tennessee National. This is 20 minutes outside of Knoxville. Find them online. Get more information, TennesseeNational.com. Call them today to secure your private tour. It is always important that you tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 865-408-9992. 865-408-9992. TennesseeNational.com. Memories begin here at Tennessee National. $7:35, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Guys, if you can feel your energy slipping away, you could have low testosterone. Now, my friends at Synergen and Low T Center, they can help you. Reach out and take a quick and simple T-test and get back on track with pharmaceutical-grade testosterone. Now, some of these other places, they compound their testosterone so that you don't even know what you're getting or if it's even going to work. But Synergen and Low T Center, They've helped guys at work, at the gym, and of course, in love as well. Now, what can they do for you? Find out with a quick trip to the clinic. TRTMVP.com is where you can find more information. TRTMVP.com. The best you is waiting. Guys who have taken TRT say it has completely changed their lives, and you can too. Now, you can get treated at home or at one of their many clinics around town. You can choose, but when it comes to where to go to feel like you again, choose the MVPs of TRT, Synergen X and Low T Center online. TRTMVP.com.
Well, it is a mess this morning on the Eastern Split. 40 westbound at 2440 East. That's exit 213A. Watch it. There's the right lane there blocked off by a crash. You also have a crash in Berry Hill on I-440 westbound. That's right at I-65, exit 5. 2 left lanes are blocked off by that one, and it's backed up to exit 7. Antioch Apache Trail at Packard Drive, a crash involving injuries. And in Talbot's Corner on 65 southbound, a crash off to the shoulder at Trinity Lane. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, it is interesting. 738, Nashville's Morning News. 1303 had a legit question. And I think, Joan and Sam, I do believe that it is a legit question because
What is it?
when we talk about the Democrats and how they are pro-crime and how they are anti-ICE and pro-illegal alien gang members in this whole thing, and 1303 is asking, how do Democrats benefit from this? How do Democrats benefit from allowing these cities to just be overrun with crime and illegal aliens and so forth? There's a lot there to unpack, and I don't want to spend an entire segment on this, but just a few things. Number one is the current Democrat Party. They are, just to use a word, insane, because they are so anti-Donald Trump that anything that Trump stands for, anything Donald Trump and conservatives stand for, they are automatically against. That's number one. Number two is Democrats always like to have a problem to solve. If there's a problem, they will blame conservatives or the Republicans. So, for example, if there's crime in the streets, I mean, look at Brandon Johnson. Let's go Brandon Johnson in Chicago, or J.B. Pritzker, where they both say, oh, we need more money. The Republicans won't give us more money.
Oh, J.B. Pritzker saying he's going to arrest federal officers for enforcing the law.
Oh, yeah. Was that yesterday or today? I don't even, last couple of days.
Yeah. You know, and by the time it comes out of his mouth, a week could have passed. A lot of jowl there.
Yes, he does have a lot of jowl, that J.B. Pritzker.
It's got a couple things.
So anyway, the Democrats like to have problems to solve, and they like to have problems that they can blame Republicans on, even though it's not the fault of Republicans. I mean, an example would be, just look at Memphis, right? So Memphis or Chicago, they'll say, oh, we don't have enough funding for housing, for example. And they'll blame Republicans because they don't have enough money for, I'm air quoting this, affordable housing. Instead of holding criminals accountable and actually sending them to jail or, giving them appropriate charges, they'll just say, oh, you know what? We know that, somebody has stolen a bunch of handguns and beaten up a bunch of people and all of these other things, stolen cars, breaking and entering, whatever. But it's not his fault. It's the fault of the Republicans because they won't give us funding for affordable housing. So, and it's the same with the schools. the schools will never accept, or the school districts will never accept responsibility or accountability for their low scores. They'll blame whoever it might be. In Tennessee, they'll blame the state for not giving the school districts enough money. They'll blame the federal government for not giving more money to the states. I mean, it goes on and on. It's never the fault of the parents. It's never the fault of the students. It's never the fault of the teachers. And I know there's some very good teachers out there. It's never the fault of the school districts. It's never the fault of, for example, the Metro Nashville corrupt school board. It's never any of their responsibility. It's always someone else's responsibility. That's one of the big problems with the Democrat Party. One of the big problems with the Democrat Party is they don't like responsibility or accountability. It's always somebody else's fault. So when you put it in that context, then yeah, that's how they benefit from, crime in the streets, and bad schools. Because 1303 asked the question, why is it the Democrats, why do they believe that they benefit from their cities being held in a handbasket? Because they won't accept accountability or responsibility. They'll blame it on other people. They can also tell the people that live in their districts or in their cities, well, we're going to fix it for you. Really? How many generations do we have to go in Memphis? How many deaths do we have to hear about in Memphis before they finally fix the problem?
And it's that power grab, like you said, and you poignantly point out that we're always going to have a problem to solve. It's always this or that and the other thing. Just keep electing us into office.
Yeah.
And it ties right into, as we've talked about, there has not been a Republican mayor in Memphis since 1963.
Exactly. So the question is, do Democrats really want to... 1303 has clearly triggered the host. So the question is, do Democrats really want to solve the problems that their cities face? And do Democrats really want to solve the problems that we face here in America collectively? No, they don't. It is clear that they don't. This is a headline. Nashville property owners and business owners are saying they are overtaxed but underserved. So you remember, I think, Joan, this was before your time. I know, Sam, it was before your time. But we had this debate back, I don't know when it was, months ago now. The debate was going on regarding property taxes in Nashville or Davidson County going up.
Yeah.
The Metro City Council voted to approve Mayor Freddie O'Connell's budget. That budget was higher. His budget was 15% higher than the previous year. And so they needed a money grab. And so what did they decide to do? They decided to raise the property taxes of people in the fine city of Nashville. So remember what happened. It kind of feels like a shell game. Nashville lowered the tax rate, but when the reappraisals came in, they basically increased their property values so that for all practical purposes, they raised the property taxes of people in Nashville. And now you see some people who they're seeing their property taxes literally double, but they're also saying that they couldn't sell their homes for what the city says their homes are worth. And it's a really tough situation for people in Nashville. Now, I'm going to tell you that, and I'm not talking to you conservatives or Republicans in the city of Nashville, but if you're a Democrat and you live in Nashville, elections have consequences. And y'all elected Freddie O'Connell, and you keep electing the Metro City Council full of Democrats and liberals, and of course, Freddie O'Connell as well. And so if you're a Democrat and you live in Nashville and you're complaining about your property tax going up, you only have yourself to blame. You can only blame yourself.
At least they were sneaky about it this time. Remember with the COVID shutdowns with Mayor Cooper, people are out of work. They are quarantined in their homes, and they passed resolutions to increase both the residential and the commercial property taxes. And they did when the protest went out of people signing a petition trying to stop it. That magically just disappeared. The numbers weren't high enough, they said, on the petition.
Yep.
So this is the first time that the wool has been pulled over people's eyes about it.
This was from Fox 17.
We think it's due in part just because the area, the housing value has grown so much in our area, which is fine, which is to be expected, but it's going to be a little bit of a hardship.
Marshall Sanders, a homeowner in Belmead, says this is the fourth time his taxes have gone up in less than a decade.
Wow.
And he feels the services haven't improved with the price tag.
Because a lot of families here, especially in Belmead, send their children to private schools because there aren't really good public schools for our kids here. So I think if you're going to jack our prices up, I think we need to have better schools.
Yeah, you know what? It's not only, and I've always said this, it's not only what you pay, but also what you're getting for your money. We're going to talk about that straight ahead. 7:45, time to check the roads on WTN. Plenty of sun today, a high of 81, and appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So I just played you audio of a guy that lives in Belmead, Fox 17, a great story. And he was asking, okay, so you're jacking up our property taxes for the fourth time, he says, in a decade, but have the schools gotten any better in Davidson County?
They might have some funds in those schools if they weren't paying out $6.5 million to some teachers for an undisclosed lawsuit.
That's exactly right. Remember, what is her name? What is that?
Dr. Adrian Battle.
Dr. Adrian. Remember that whole thing? Man, I lost my you-know-what on that story, where Dr. Adrian Battle, the Metro School Board Director.
Superintendent. Yeah.
And they pay off $6.5 million worth of lawsuits against her, and nobody's allowed to ask any questions.
Yep.
But the big question is, have the schools gotten any better? And I would say no. They have shown some slight improvements in some areas, but at the same time, they are still below state averages in Davidson County.
Do you think you deserve an $80,000 raise if you bring test scores up by barely 10%?
No. I mean, I do, but if it was me, of course.
Of course.
They still have chronic absenteeism. Enrollment is declining in Nashville. A lot of folks say that while we are making some investments and seeing some modest improvements, those improvements simply do not match the amount that we're putting in. So I looked this up. Math, science, and social studies proficiency, I think it was 3rd through 8th grade, have all gone down over the last 10 years. Yet property values in Davidson County have gone up. And so, again, I would say to the people of Nashville, not you conservatives listening to WTN, but the city voted for O'Connell and his higher budget. They voted for the Metro City Council, all of these folks, Democrats, of course. So that's unfortunately what you get. And by the way, we predicted this. The other thing about that story, you can appeal your property taxes, and a whole bunch of people have. Most of them were declined. A lot of people are like, they had, I think, what is it? 19,000 people appealed their property tax increase, and vast majority of them were declined by the city because the mayor needs to spend more money, not cut, but spend more money. And we also, of course, I'll say it for you folks screaming at the radio, we spend millions of dollars dealing with illegal immigration, of course. 10,000 English as a second language students in the city of Nashville. So that's a ton of money as well. By the way, this also means that businesses are getting hit hard as well, right? So you have to deal with higher taxes, and people, they don't have as much money because now they're paying higher taxes. So they're not going to go out to eat as often as they would. This could also, by the way, mean job losses. That ends up as a city spiral that will impact everybody. You were talking to me about a barbecue place.
Yeah,
Sam.
there's a staple in Nashville, Peg Leg Porker. Wonderful food, wonderful family-started company. And, their owner was being interviewed with Fox 17 about how the rising property taxes will affect it. Now, I'll say this. You pointed out how people have less money to spend on it. Then the business has less money to pay their people. Yep. And now you're changing the landscape and the culture of a city by putting places out of business. This is what he had to say to Fox 17. If I can get it queued up. It's muted. There we go.
level of taxation. Do we only want corporate national businesses in downtown Nashville or all over the city? Because that's what we're about to have, because they're the only ones that can afford this. A local...
Their property taxes have gone up $9,700 from last year.
Well, you know what's going to happen? They're going to have to raise prices.
Yeah.
Right? And so then when you raise prices,
And
that
cut
impacts
employees.
business.
And that also impacts, if you're raising prices, you're cutting employees.
Yep.
And now you've got poorer service going out to your guests, and you're taking away from the culture of Nashville that is renowned for hospitality.
Yeah. And by the way, this is one more audio bite from that Fox 17 story.
And so I've heard from everybody from large businesses all the way down to condo owners that they don't mind paying their taxes, but their property value is much higher than they could ever sell it for in today's market. So they feel like they're overpaying.
Councilmember Jacob Coupin, a realtor himself, says the appeal process is tough. Property owners are paying bills now and might wait months to see relief if their case is approved. And the impact goes beyond neighborhoods, with businesses downtown saying the rising tax burden could force them to cut staff or, in some cases, close.
That's what we said. Now, if you are, and I've always wondered this, and I've never lived in Nashville. I've always lived in, here's where I've lived: Spring Hill, Franklin, and now Mount Juliet. So I've never actually lived in Nashville, but I would love to know from the super texters, if you live in Nashville and your property values, of course, have skyrocketed, which means that you're going to have to pay higher taxes and so forth, but you know that you wouldn't be able to sell your home for what they say your home is worth. But I've moved a bazillion times in my life. If you wanted to, and I'm talking to you people who live in Nashville, if you wanted to sell your home, could you make enough money to move to, say, for example, a Wilson County or a Rutherford County? Could you just, what do they say, vote with your feet?
Yeah.
And move out of Davidson
depends
County?
on how much they owe on their home, like how much they're going to walk away with.
You're right. It depends on how much you owe on your home. It depends on what you could, get for your home and how much that replacement home in a Wilson County, or Rutherford County would be. So
also depends on your age.
Yeah.
Because of it. So, for example, my parents lived in Nashville, right outside in the East Nashville suburb, for going on 30 years. Their home's paid off. They've made additions to it, added on, acre yard. Last time it was appraised, it was a pretty nice sum, bordering on seven figures. They wouldn't get that sum if they sold it.
Yep.
And they've had to wait till being over 62 to avoid the luxury tax, because they don't have a loan to pay off with that. So if you don't take the funds that you gain from selling the home and put it all into the next property, you're going to be taxed on that. I thought we were flipping tea bags into the sea for stuff like that, but
What did Rush Limbaugh say? Tax and spend liberals? Is that what El Rushbo said?
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys, Jason Weekly, our buddy Jason Weekly, was on with Murphy Show the other day talking about all of this. By the way, Jason Weekly runs the GOP party, I guess, in Davidson County. And here is what he had to say. This was, I think, Monday on the Murphy Show.
They wanted, I think it was another $300 or $400 million to be added to the budget. And so that's where the 29% tax increase number comes from, because we want to spend this much more money.
There you go.
So we're going to raise your taxes to get there. They could have just not spent
the money.
any more money. That is our problem. The city council has a spending problem. We have some debt, but we're not like, the federal government that's in trillions and trillions of dollars of debt. But we are in a spending problem that's just like federal government.
What do we say? Again, whether it's on the national scale or the local scale, tax and spend liberals. That is what they do. It is 7:54. Joan's got the news at 8. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, Dan. Border Patrol agents attacked by Chicago residents. Also, he used the word forever. What Governor Bill Lee said about the crime crackdown in Memphis yesterday. That and more at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 7:54 at Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. The Wellness Institute of Nashville. I like these folks because they helped me with my chronic back and neck pain years ago, and they can help you as well. Now, if you've got back or neck pain, if you've got sciatica, slipped or bulging spinal discs, herniated discs, spinal stenosis, numbness or weakness in the arms and legs, fingers or toes, they can help you. Now, they've got this state-of-the-art non-surgical spinal decompression. It is their specialty. no surgery, no spinal injections, and no painkillers. Right now, they've got a great deal going on at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. $12 for a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment, all for just $12. Again, $12. Get you a comprehensive exam, x-rays if needed, well-explained diagnosis, and that first treatment, all for just $12. Tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009. The website, painisbad.com, painisbad.com. Dan Mandis here, 757 Mark Spain Real Estate. Listen, you can skip the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. No showings, no open houses, and no stress. That is the guaranteed offer. Now, they've got a lot of reasons why you should go with Mark Spain Real Estate if you need to get out of your home fast. Maybe you need to sell your home fast to get into your dream home. Mark Spain Real Estate is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. They've got over 13,000 five-star reviews. You can trust, my friends, to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. They've been helping homeowners sell their homes for nearly 30 years. They've got over 72,000 satisfied clients. That's Mark Spain Real Estate, home to the guaranteed offer. 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD, or find them online anytime. It's markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Good morning. It's now 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Crews wrapped up their work on I-40 in Mount Juliet this morning. After several crashes closed a stretch of eastbound highway between mile markers 221 and 226 just after midnight. There was a 3-car crash, a tractor-trailer fire, and then another crash involving 3 vehicles. One of them rolled over. That tractor trailer was carrying clothing, so it took a while to put out the fire and clear the roadway. All lanes are now reopened. A violent standoff between Chicago residents and Border Patrol agents yesterday after a couple of illegal immigrants rammed those agents with their car. Reporter Michelle Gallardo is with Chicago radio station WLS.
There was a white expedition that was being driven by Border Patrol agents chasing a red SUV in circles around the neighborhood, probably for around 30 minutes. And after the accident, we see the occupants of the red vehicle running away, the agents chasing them. A statement from the Department of Homeland Security, in fact, saying that the driver of the red vehicle rammed them first, saying that that is what prompted the chase. And they added that both of the people that were inside that vehicle were undocumented immigrants.
And Border Patrol agents arrested them, but that is when 50 residents of that neighborhood gathered around the scene and began chanting, throwing eggs, and throwing rocks at those Border Patrol agents. They deployed tear gas into the scene and made arrests. Meantime, there's a bounty being placed on Border Patrol agents' lives.
The department warned that cartels are offering $2,000 for gathering intelligence on federal officials and their families, often with the goal of doxing them. $5,000 to $10,000 for kidnapping or non-lethal assaults, and up to $50,000 for the assassination of high-ranking officials. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem telling President Trump in a recent cabinet meeting that she's stepping up security.
Snipers on the roof.
Authorities calling the intelligence evidence of a structured bounty program to incentivize violence against federal personnel.
That's ABC's Pierre Thomas. New numbers from Memphis, where federal agents coordinating to crack down on crime. More than 850 arrests, 175 seized illegal firearms. And Governor Bill Lee talked about the length of that mission.
We have just begun. In fact, I will tell you that it will last forever, because what we believe will happen is the numbers of law enforcement agents from different agencies will change depending on the mission at the moment. It'll be mission dependent. What we find this week will inform what we do next week.
And he says those taken into custody include violent criminals and known gang members. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stock futures all pointing up right now. The Dow futures are plus 230. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, so we have some problems this morning. First one, 40 west, 40 westbound at the Eastern Split. It's at exit 213A that you're going to find a crash. It's off to the right shoulder, and that shoulder is blocked off. Berry Hill, I-440 westbound at exit 5. That's for I-65. 2 left lanes are blocked off by a crash, and it's backed up to exit 7 because of it. West End, 28th Avenue North at Charlotte Avenue, a crash. Another one in Talbot's Corner on southbound 65 at Trinity Lane. And then in Madison, there's an accident, Old Hickory Boulevard, west of Port Drive. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.807 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk. You know, Joan, we had I sort of asked the question, if you live in Nashville and you sell your house, you know, could you afford to move to Rutherford County or Wilson County or what have you? And there's some people that said, you know what? And this is actually true. There are really nice places of Nashville. I know that oftentimes, you know, we will say, oh, Nashville is terrible. There's actually, Nashville itself is a really nice place to live. The city of Nashville, you've got, the high-rise condos are really nice. You've got Belle Meade, which is really nice. You've got, you know where I almost moved to many, many moons ago is Old Hickory, which is, you know, part of Old Hickory is Nashville. There's some very nice places in Nashville.
You would have doubled your money on that.
I know I would have.
Especially lakefront.
If I had done it at the time that I wanted to do it. Now, I was lucky enough to have met Amy, and she picked out our house, and, 8 years ago now, 8.5 years ago now, and, we're doing fine with the value of our home. But a lot of people are saying, we like where we live in Nashville, and not all parts of Nashville are horrendous and crime-ridden.
Yeah.
And I get it. There's some, would you like to live in like one of these high-rise townhome places in Nashville, Joan?
I look up at them all the time, like when we leave work.
Yeah.
It's so cool to just live so close that you could, take the elevator down and walk to work. Like, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
But
till the elevator doesn't work.
Till the elevator doesn't work, and I really like where I am, I hear the cows in the morning. So, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
You hear the cows as opposed to the gunshots?
Yes.
When I have to get here at like 11 or 12, whatever it is, when I have to do red eye.
Yeah.
I hear gunshots a lot.
Do you really?
Yeah. Now here's the Okay, so here's the funny thing. Yeah, in Nashville, when I arrive in Nashville.
Wow.
Here's the funny thing though. I hear more gunfire where I live in Mount Juliet. But they're just target practicing.
Yeah.
Versus in Nashville where it's one gangbanger trying to shoot the other.
Yeah, probably mildly inebriated target practice.
In my neck of the woods? Oh, I don't know if they're inebriated. They better not be. It's like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. They always wake, and I'm
Sounds like you're in the red neck of the woods.
Yeah, but we do target practice out in our backyard too.
I live in a sort of a lakeside community. I'm like lake adjacent.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of room out there to shoot, and there's lots of deer. So
that's true.
There is that aspect of it too. So no, I don't think my neighbors are not drunken shooters. What is wrong with you?
I know, right?
You got some, but to that point, since you do say lake adjacent, the deer, there's a wonderful thing in Tennessee called the nuisance law. That if an animal is harassing your property, you have every right to dispose of it.
Well, define harass.
That's exactly, you get to define harassment. That's the beauty of the state.
Okay.
Dear, you're eating my blueberries. Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right. Well, whatever. Anyway, all I'm saying is that we're talking about, it runs the gamut. of the people who are answering the text line. Some people are talking about how they moved out of Nashville and they made a crap ton of money, and they were able to afford, a new place in my neck of the woods, Mount Juliet. But there's other people that say that they have their home paid off in Nashville, and they still could not afford a place in Mount Juliet or, Williamson County because they just don't. They'd have to get a new mortgage, and that means that with interest rates where they are, they just wouldn't be able to do it. So, we looked at moving a while ago, and it was like, you know what? We have a really low interest rate, so we stayed put. Thank the Lord.
See, that's also an important point. And here's something else that somebody said on the YouTube chat that in Rutherford County, and this really goes everywhere. When you own a home and you're paying taxes, you're paying for the infrastructure to be improved and to be built for new homes to be put in. So you're paying for new homes and then they raise your taxes? Yeah. That's not right.
Oh, and when we had the COVID increases, and I forgot to bring this up earlier, but there are people that are retired living on fixed incomes. And when you raise the property taxes that they pay at the end of the year, you're pricing them out of their homes that they own.
Right.
And then they have to sell out and move out of a home they lived in for maybe 40 or 50 years in order to cover what they owe the government.
And by the way, and our friend Pamela Furr texted me during the segment that we were doing, and she's absolutely right. Because I remember when we were having this debate about, what's going on with property taxes and so forth, we called for the GOP voters, turn out, vote, all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
There's a lot of Republicans in Nashville, man. I don't know why they don't come out and vote. They just don't. And so I think that, I forget who I had on, but somebody from the GOP, Davidson County, Nashville, whatever. But he was telling me there are plenty. If the Republicans would just come out in Nashville. So while I'm sitting here and I'm saying, the Democrats voted for all of these nincompoops like Governor O'Connell and the Metro Council and so forth. So the Democrats are guilty, but, if you are a Republican in Nashville and you don't turn out to vote, well, you're just as guilty because your butt didn't come out to vote. So, don't castigate the Democrats because they did come out to vote. I mean, they're getting what they wanted. High crime and high taxes. Go figure. But if you're a Republican and you don't go out to vote, and I don't care if you live in Nashville or Davidson County or Wilson County or Rutherford County or whatever, the 7th Congressional District with that vote coming up between Matt Van Epps and Afton Bain, if you're a Republican and you stay home, what in the world is wrong with you? I don't understand being politically inclined and not going out to vote. So anyway. So there, Joan.
So there, Dan.
I'm going to step off my soapbox, and I'm going to let Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, talk about what the Democrats want to pay for as far as the government shutdown goes. There's this big standoff going on between Republicans and Democrats. And so we all know what it is that the Democrats want. They want these Obamacare subsidies to go on forever. They want, Medicaid. They want the Republicans to stop finding the fraud in Medicaid, and they want everybody to have Medicaid, including all of those illegal aliens, the people that are perfectly capable of going out and working and robbing the system. Democrats want all of that waste, fraud, and abuse to continue. And also the Democrats want to give a whole bunch of money to, the public broadcasting folks, NPR and so forth, and PBS. So that's part of what they want. Democrats en masse in total want to claw back $1.5 trillion worth of the spending cuts that the Republicans found in the big, beautiful bill. But there's other things that Mike Johnson is going to tell us what the Democrats want to do with, this clawback of funds in order to keep the government going. Wait till you hear what the Democrats want to spend your tax money on. Is kind of doji. Do you remember, Joan, Doge, when we found out, what the Democrats were funding under Joe Biden, where we're paying for Sesame Street in Iraq and all of those other things that we were funding? Mike Johnson has a new list. It is coming up. It is 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather goes, it's going to be mostly sunny today. High around 82. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. By the way, I'm being well danned on the super text line.
For what now?
Well, Dan, castigating Republicans in Nashville for not coming out to vote. You ever heard of voter fraud? All right. I don't know.
So why would that stop you?
Right. Well, what they're saying is maybe Republicans did come out to vote. What they're saying is maybe Republicans did come out to vote, but the Democrats cheated.
Gotcha.
Don't know.
I see.
Whatever. All right, this is Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, and he's talking about what it is that the Democrats want in order to vote to get the government going again.
They want to spend $24.6 million of your hard-earned dollars as a taxpayer for climate resilience in Honduras. They want to spend $13.4 million for civic engagement in Zimbabwe. They want to send $3.9 million for LGBTQI plus democracy grants in the Western Balkans.
Wait, LGBTQI plus. What is that? I know LGBTQ. What is I?
Intersex.
Remind me what intersex is again.
Intersex is a genetic condition. It's an anomaly on the spectrum of things where 0.01% of the population is born with both genitals.
Isn't it your animal spirit?
Intersex is an actual medical condition. Joan from the top rope with the dad joke.
Here's more.
EQI plus democracy grants in the Western Balkans. They want to spend $2.9 million of your dollars for desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa.
Desert locust risk reduction in the Horn of Africa.
It's just insane.
Didn't we raise a bunch of money in the 80s so Africa would have food?
We did.
And now we got locust problems 40 years later?
That's where like the We Are the World thing came from.
Right.
Right?
I think so.
Something about food for Africa.
I was born in 96.
And $2 million for, quote, organizing for feminist democratic principles in Africa. We are not doing that.
I like that.
We are not doing that.
And you even have to give, I hate the guy's stance on things, Jake Tapper some credit for saying every time the government has been shut down, we blame the people who are voting no. And so he even had the gall to call out the Democrats on CNN the other day, talking about saying, it's your fault we're not moving forward.
Well, and again, not to belabor the point, because I've said this 1,000 times, but all the Republicans want to do is keep the government open with a continuing resolution for, it was 7 weeks. And so that they could continue to negotiate this stuff. The Democrats, I think that they have made a really, really bad power play.
Oh, yeah.
Because they think that shutting down the government, that the Republicans, because they have the House and the Senate and the White House, that people are dumb enough to automatically think, the Republicans. No, it's the Democrats. If you know anything about what is going on, you know that it is Chuck Schumer and the Democrats that have shut down the government. Literally, all they want to do, all the Republicans want to do, is continue negotiations. And that's all they want to do.
Well, and Trump said it, I think, yesterday, that he's got a very wealthy friend that would be happy to fund the military spending that needs to get through on this CR if it doesn't get through in time. That we get a private donation. We covered how $200 billion in tariff revenue to cover the women and children's food program that was part of the CR that they're delaying.
Right.
The Democrats are lying to the people, and at some point they need to be held accountable.
You don't say they're lying to the people. You don't say, Sam.
Just a little bit, Dad.
Just a little bit. Did Kermit the Frog just come into the station? Is Tim Jones talking about me? Kermit the Frog.
That's what I was just trying to.
That?
Yeah, that's what I was trying.
Does that sound like Kermit?
Yes.
Does it?
Or Patrick Mahomes.
I've never heard Patrick Mahomes speak.
He sounds like Kermit the Frog.
Does he sound like Kermit the Frog? All right. Was that Sesame Street?
No.
Kermit the Frog?
Yeah, was that? I don't know.
Yeah.
The Muppets.
Well,
it's the same thing.
No.
They're both controlled by a hand or strings. They're all the same thing to me. Kermit the Frog
Last
and
time I checked,
Muppets
Big
and-
Bird was a costume.
Big Bird was a costume?
Yeah, there's a person in there.
Oh, whatever. I don't care. Do you know what? Can I just be honest? I never really watched Sesame Street. Like, I never really did. I don't know what my parents had me watching, but it wasn't Sesame Street. Joan,
Now
were
that
you a Sesame-
explains a lot.
No, it doesn't explain anything.
Well, Sesame Street did cover how to announce and pronounce.
Sesame Street did?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know because I never watched it. I was a free thinker as a kid. I didn't need Big Bird to tell me how to think.
You watched Bugs Bunny.
Oh, I did watch Bugs Bunny.
Oh, is that was why my you favorite Saturday
Elmer
morning.
Fudd things?
Probably why I Elmer Fudd things. The
Franklin Woad.
wascally wabbit. The wascally wabbit on Franklin Road.
Wankwin Woad.
Whatever. Yes, Kermit was on Sesame Street. I'm laughing at some of this. It's 3302. I listen to you for balance of information, and you just regurgitate the nonsense that mainstream media reports. I don't know if that's true.
What a ridiculous clown show.
Are you talking about me in the show or what this person
No, that
says?
text.
3302?
No, we definitely don't
whatever.
regurgitate. Sometimes some people get some things right, but Dan's always right in this studio.
Sure, Sam. You'll notice, by the way, Joan, that Sam said in the studio because my wife would definitely disagree when Sam says Dan is always right. All right. That's what Amy sounds like when she laughs. Totally kidding.
Oh.
What? I didn't say anything.
You know, she's going to be better enough real soon to be able to hurt you.
Do you know what? I know where her Percocet is. I can hide it. I'm just kidding. Actually, you know what? The nice thing is she's doing just great.
Yeah.
She has definitely turned the corner. She's actually out of the drugs, and she's not taking any more.
Nice.
And she's doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
It's good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
The Amy goo down to a minimum.
All right, so you lost me. La, 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 la.
All right, Lala Jones, what is coming up in the news?
We'll tell you what caused that train derailment in Columbia yesterday, coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here. You know, we were joking earlier in the radio broadcast. I guess Joan was reporting there have been some members of the military, some generals and so forth, that have been bounced because they were too fat.
Yeah.
They got to call contours. Listen, if you're listening right now, if you're one of those generals or whatever that you've been bounced, literally bounced off of out of the military because you had some extra poundage, call my friends at Contours right now. A belly buster special could be helpful to you. 615-236-9960. For my friends at Contours, first 10 callers right now to that phone number, you get a Belly Buster special for just $99. Now, remember, these Belly Buster specials, I've been talking about these for months now. It is red light technology. It is cutting edge. It is unique. It is effective. And most folks lose at least 2 inches across the middle. So you want to check them out. Contours. Find more about these Belly Buster specials online. It is contoursllc.com. And call right now for a $99 Belly Buster special. That's a big-time discounted rate. First 10 callers, 615-236-9960. Taking advantage of Contours' red light technology. Folks have been coming from all across Middle Tennessee to check them out. You can, again, go to their website, see how their Belly Buster therapy featuring red light technology actually works. If you want to slim up for the holidays, check them out today. 615-236-9960. First 10 callers gets that Belly Buster special for $99. Find them online, contoursllc.com. Contours, all you've got to lose is inches. 828 Nashville's Morning News, DT McCall's. I love this company. I was a customer before I was an endorser because it's a great company, a great Tennessee company. They are here for their fellow Tennesseans like you with great prices, great selection, and terrific value. And I've been telling you for years about DT McCall's. They've been helping people out for 3 generations. And if you need it, they've got it at DT McCall's, whether you are looking for your home, if you're looking for some appliances, maybe something for your garage, check out my friends at DT McCall's in store or online. If you've got a room to fill, they've got the indoor furniture to do it. If you need something that plugs in, they've always got specials going on to save you money at DT McCall's. Do yourself a favor. The next time you need something, this is what I do. Go to their website at dtmccalls.com. They've always got great specials, great prices on the best brands of appliances and furniture at DT McCall's. They've been doing this for over 100 years with a focus on customer service. Now, if you buy it, they're going to deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. They've got 5 locations around Middle Tennessee, no doubt one near you. DT McCall's, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin, always online, dtmccalls.com.
Good morning. It's now 8:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Israel is threatening to cut aid to Gaza if the 20 remaining deceased hostages are not returned quickly by Hamas. And this news comes after one set of remains that were sent to Israel have been determined to not match any of the hostages. The 2 deceased Americans' remains have yet to be returned.
There are 2 U.S. citizens amongst the deceased hostages, and we spoke to the father of Itarkhan, Rubikhan, and he said that waiting for his son to return is agonizing. He said he'd met President Trump when he was here in Israel, and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco Rubio, and said he told them that the job is not done.
ABC's Ian Panel there in Los Angeles last night. Officials voted to declare a state of emergency because of ICE officials making arrests of illegal immigrants. And with that proclamation, the county's ordered landlords to allow illegal immigrants to live in their homes rent-free. Residents can get those illegal residents can get other financial support too, including state funds for legal services. Now, only one board member voted against it. Her name is Catherine Barger. She said that the federal government has the sole authority to enforce federal immigration law. An investigation underway now into that train derailment in Columbia and Maury County yesterday. News 2's Maggie Weaver saying that 5 cars jumped the tracks and landed on their sides.
Police say that this was a low-speed derailment, but one of those cars was carrying a propane tanker, so they had to make immediate evacuations of nearby schools and businesses. Now, in a press conference yesterday, officials said the tanker was nearly empty and thankfully no one was hurt.
Officials saying that problem was a switching rail that malfunctioned. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stocks trading now, and the Dow Industrials are plus 180, the NASDAQ up 205. S&P 500 index is up 46 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Pick a Joan, 832, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Mandis here with a great way to increase the value of your home. How about a bathroom upgrade from my friends at Zintex? A great company. that has a great deal just for my listeners to my show. Now, stay tuned for that. But how about converting your bathtub into a walk-in shower? Now, they can do that. And for listeners to my show, you can get $999 off or 0% interest for 2 years, whatever works best for you. Now, Zintex has won awards for ethics from the Better Business Bureau. And last year, they were voted one of the best places to work in the construction industry. And happy employees always mean great customer service. Now, remember that great deal. You can get $999 off or 0% interest for 2 years, whatever works best for you. You mentioned WTN. By the way, you also get a free Kohler toilet with your purchase. Find them online, Zintex.com, Zintex.com, Zintex.com. Always tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, Zintex.com. Dan Mandis here. It is spooky season, but don't be tricked. Let the home experts at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling treat your family right. We won't ghost you. Join the Beehive Club for free. Just carve a pumpkin of Buzz the Bee, post it on social media, and tag Busy Bee. That's all you got to do. Show off your carving skills and get rewarded. Now, if you need HVAC service, they can help you. You can upgrade your thermostat and get a free dryer vent cleaning. Choose from our Honeywell Basic or Go Pro with Wi-Fi control. Plumbing problems will flush your water heater free with any plumbing repair. That's a treat for your pipes. Time for a new HVAC system in your home. We've got a scary good deal, a free 10-year parts and 5-year labor warranty. That is a $750 value. That's complete with any system install. Don't let your home be haunted. Call Busy Bee today, where service is sweet and savings are scary good. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Call them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out at 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com.
Selling your home can be stressful.
Watch yourself on 40 westbound out at the airport this morning, right at Briley Parkway East. That's exit 215. A couple of lanes to the right this morning are blocked off by a crash. South Nashville, Murfreesboro Pike westbound at Foster Avenue. There's a crash. Another one on Bell Road at Smith Springs Road in Nashboro Village and in Berry Hill on I-440 westbound. Exit 5, the right shoulder blocked off by a crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$8:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. It's time for the crisscross handoff. And
what's up?
Wow.
Sorry.
I don't know.
I'm a little bit fired up.
He is. Boy, Chris is fired up.
I'm really angry.
I just got an earful of it over here.
You don't like bowling for soup?
No, I don't. I like soup, though. It is soup
Do you
season
like
at
bowling?
the house.
Do you like bowling and do you like soup? Do you like them separate?
I'm a New Englander. Huge fan of Candlepin.
Oh, my Lord.
What is that?
So I've played Candlepin.
It's gangster.
It's stupid.
No, it's awesome.
Candlepin is bowling light. What is wrong? I thought you were a real man with the deep voice and all that.
I like Candlepin, and I like putt-putt.
You mean mini golf?
Yeah.
Putt-putt.
Nothing wrong with some mini golf.
Goodness.
No, but
It's calling it putt-putt.
it's calling it putt-putt.
I did it to trigger the boomers.
Sprinkles or Jimmy's?
It's Jimmy's all day, baby.
Whoa,
Jimmy's.
Sprinkles. Hold up now. Is it pop or soda?
No, it's soda. But it's Jimmy's because of the Jimmy
actually
Fund.
Coke. Everything is a Coke
That's a
down
New England thing too. The Jimmy Fund.
Jimmy Fund, Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, we were raising money for kids with cancer, and so then Sprinkles became Jimmy's.
Do you know what was ironic about the Jimmy Fund?
Tell me.
And incredibly sad is that one of the main guys that used to raise money for the Jimmy Fund, one of my favorite all-time baseball players, Tim Wakefield, died of cancer.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I loved Tim Wake. Do you ever do this? I'm a little weird. I'm just going to go ahead and admit that right now.
Thanks, Dan.
You don't say.
I'm glad you clarified.
So...
We love you.
No,
Mandis is the best. Mandis is the absolute best.
I want to know if other people do this. So Tim Wakefield, favorite baseball player. Vin Scully, my favorite all-time, play-by-play guy. Really famous broadcaster and so forth, favorite. If they're selling their home, do you, interestingly enough, like go to the page or go look at the home to see how your hero lived?
Yeah.
Like, you ever do that?
A little bit.
Yeah. All right. So I'm not that weird.
No, I'm sure.
Would you ever do that?
I wouldn't, but I'm sure people do.
Joan was looking at people's houses the other day.
Joan's just snooping.
She was. Joan went and because I looked at Tim Wakefield's house in Florida.
People like Joan are the reason why my house is blurred out on Google Maps.
My house is blurred out too. Well, I went to one of those, what is it, a parade of homes yesterday?
Yeah.
Ooh.
In Brentwood, just to see like how I'm not living.
How the other half lives.
See, I'm perfectly happy with my home until I see how other people live.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, if we carry the one and sell off the children and,
Put a boat in the driveway.
We do this all the time, and I'll tell my wife, I'll be like, you remember when we prayed to get a house like this? You remember that, right? I'm like, you remember when this was our dream?
Yeah.
To have a home like this. And just to clarify, this is still other people's dream.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So, like, we have to appreciate, and this is one of my issues, is being content, and something I need to work on.
Oh, I do too,
And
yes.
I just try to be more, I'm trying to be more content in
You
where
have
I'm
an
at.
amazing home.
I love it. I love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean,
But it's like you get used to it. You get used to it, and then you dream bigger. And I'm not saying it's wrong to dream bigger, but there comes a time where I'm like, okay, I do need to be content with what I have.
Yes.
Humbling wisdom of the day, Chris Hand.
do you know what I would say? So,
Oh,
Amy,
bring the applause back.
Amy, and you know what? If you're going to use applause, pot it up so everybody can hear it. Thank you. Amy tried to talk me into a much bigger home a while ago.
Okay.
And it was, I think, probably the one time that I've actually put my foot down. I said, no, I'm not doing this. And my voice actually went up 5 octaves. I said, no, I'm not doing this. And so every time a big expense comes up, I always say, if we bought the house you wanted to buy, we couldn't afford to do whatever it is.
I like that.
Not my household, not my neighborhood.
It's exactly right. I want to stay in my household and stay in my neighborhood.
Memory like an elephant.
Not really. Who are you again? All right, I want to do something.
Let's do it.
So
I have a story for this segment too that I can't wait for you to.
Okay, then we got to do all this quick.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard Murphy's show yesterday, but we were all on a group text, me, you, and Murphy show and others. So you put out I don't even know what you call them, but it was like a self emoji.
Yeah, an emoji.
Yeah. So
emoji
it's a you with an emoji.
It's a version of our. Well, it started with Murphy dropping his.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and then everybody dropped theirs.
Well, no, only 3 did.
I know. Well,
Murphy show dropped his. You dropped yours.
To be fair, Benson couldn't because he's got a Samsung, and I acknowledged that in the chat that he ruined the group chat. He made it green.
Yes.
And nobody backed me up.
Because mine's not green.
I didn't. Mine wasn't green. I didn't know what you were talking about. I thought maybe you were just being dumb.
No. He's got a droid.
I knew he was a communist.
Yeah.
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. So anyway, and mine, I did mine as well. So apparently this came up yesterday on the Murphy Show.
Yeah, well, it was weird, dude.
Well, so you want to play this real quick? So
let me a brief setup. So Murphy was asking Jackson if he'd created one, and Jackson was like, "No, we text each other in our generation."
Mm-hmm.
We just text each other. It's
just
easier.
sit around and smoke the wacky tobacco and watch stupid shows on TV. Don't get me started. I'm mad today. I'm sick. I'd already told you. I'll come after you.
The wacky tobacco.
I don't know. I don't even know why I said that, kid. I'm lashing out. He lashes at me. I lash at him. That's the way it goes.
I'm not lashing out.
You did lash out. I can't find it anyway. But so I put my emoji up, and Chris commented how similarly or how good my emoji looked, and then Dan put his up, and it was weird. Did you see that, Ken?
It
Were you on
was.
that?
I just responded to it. I didn't see y'all put.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Now I got to go look at it.
Well, Dan Mandis's looks way too much like him.
It does.
Like it looks like a photo of him, and which frightens me. But
Like an AI kind of thing?
It looks really, really like him. So much so that I asked.
Goodness gracious!
Did you see that, Ken? So I asked.
Oh, God, Ken acted like he saw something horrific.
No,
it looks like I'm looking at a cartoon Dan.
No, it looks exactly like him.
It's
So
weird.
much so I questioned whether or not Amy did it for him.
wow.
I was like, how much time did you spend on that dude? Amy did that for you. Anyway, you see what happens is Dan's trying to ask a serious question about covering weather over the weekend that may or may not descend on Nashville. I'm sitting here going, Mandis is watching way too much Nashville 911.
Are they sending Cantori out here?
I don't think so.
Because that's the time to be concerned.
So,
For the record, can just let me preface this. Jackson was not lashing out at Murphy. I heard that whole break. Murphy was being overly sensitive. I know he's not one to do that.
So if you are watching on YouTube, we go ahead. Yeah, can you see the YouTube page?
I'll pull it up.
We went ahead.
I texted it to you.
And Sam has put up all three of the emojis. Murphy's.
What I call the emoji bros.
The emoji bros.
Emoji
So you've got
That's
Chris's
my name.
emoji, you've got my emoji, and you've got Matt Murphy's emoji.
Dan's is just weird.
Isn't it though?
Also,
Yes.
why does Murphy's have like a reddish hue like it's been drinking too much? Does anybody notice that? Was that just me?
No, I'm seeing it now.
That's
See.
funny.
Well, okay. So Amy said about, and few folks listening on the radio, Chris
This is why you need to be on YouTube or Rumble so that way you can get the visual elements as well.
So what we want to know is if you're on the super text line, or I don't know how you want to do this, but whose emoji is more lifelike? Mine, Murphy's, or Chris Hand's? Now, Chris, you look pale.
Yeah.
You look like you are.
I look like a white person.
No, you look like you need to get some sun. That's what you look like.
You look like you have extra caucasity.
Caucasity.
Oh, did we say his name too many times? Is he starting to text in?
I don't know. Murphy, I'm not going to say that he looks like he's drinking. I think what
See, his eyes aren't red. It's just his skin is red on
maybe
it.
he just got a little sunburn.
Right.
And Amy wanted to know. Amy thought I looked black.
She thought you looked black?
Yeah,
I didn't know you were black.
You do have a little bit of tan skin.
Yeah. Well,
there.
okay. So who's
Maybe
not to
brown.
say?
You went too tan.
Yeah, I guess. But I look like I could be Golden Dan sometimes. You know, out in the sun.
You know what it is about? You know what it is about this emoji that nails it for you, Dan?
What?
The red nose.
Actually, in the shape of it, is that not spot on?
Yeah. Dan, come on.
I don't have a red nose.
The only thing missing on your emoji is the little forehead shine.
They could probably fix it somehow. No, I did that myself. I did that all by myself. As a matter of fact, Amy, in her drug-induced stupor, could not figure out, like, how do you do this? And so I told Amy how to do it too. So no, I did that all on my own. I'm not as, not inclined to do these kinds of things as some may think. I have got some technical prowess. And so there you go. I don't think it looks like me. I think that my eyes are a little more beady than that. My eyes are never that open wide because I'm always tired as all get out.
Denial is more than just a river in Egypt, Dan.
My wife texted and said it looked like Disney Cruise Dan.
If I saw that running at me on a boat, I'm jumping off.
Most people are saying definitely Dan, hands down, freakishly like Dan. Cherubic Murphy. Is cherubic? Cherubic. What is that word? Where you look red.
He looks cherubic would be
like a cherub,
like an angel.
Chris looks like a Canadian.
Oh, there we go.
Dan, yours is identical. Dan all day. All right, well.
Dan's it is.
It
Chris
really
almost blends in
is.
with the paper on the executive order.
4702 says, I would have pegged Dan for more of a Nomar Garcia-Parra fan. Nah.
Nomar.
Anyway, but it's very funny because we have it, if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, we've got Trump holding an executive order and our pictures are in there. So it's actually kind of funny.
It looks good.
Oh, see, Matt is Native American. That is why he's red.
Are you saying that Native Americans drink too much?
No.
Is that what?
That's what it sounded like to me.
That's what it sounded like to me too.
Sounds like John's about to get a petition for the Washington football team to change their
Be
name back.
careful. The young Republicans are going to put out an apology.
All right, so you sent me something.
I sent you a story. Okay. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, when Dan opens up his direct messages and sees this story, I want you to just watch his reaction for starters before we even get into. Oh, there it is.
Kim Kardashian's Skims drops new underwear collection featuring faux hair.
That's right,
I can't
brother.
say that.
That's what it is.
You just said it.
No, I didn't.
Trimming
no.
the line between fashion and foliage is how TMZ puts it.
You want to say what that says? You go right on ahead, mister.
It's this new underwear, lady thongs.
No.
With faux pubic hair.
Oh my God.
That's a nasty one. That's nasty.
That's just gross.
You know the crazy thing? They're like sold out.
They're sold out. This is
Why
like,
would you want fake if you can grow your own? This is what I don't understand. What? Why is that funny? That's not funny. It's a fact. Why would you want fake?
What if you can't, Dan?
Who can't grow that?
People with alopecia?
Is it true?
Are you being insensitive to the alopecia crowd?
Wow.
No, I just didn't know that there's people
First,
that can't
it's the
grow.
cyclists in Denver. Now, it's the alopecia crowd.
This is like Gwyneth Paltrow. Remember when she had the candle that was the vagina candle?
Yes.
I mean, it's just like that. The grosser they get, the more they sell out.
Bingo. Kim rolled out her new faux hair panty line with a retro 70s throwback. The golden era of full frontal foliage.
They've got, oh boy, how do we do this?
Didn't they call that going chestnut? Or is that what didn't shave anything?
I don't know.
I don't know.
People that were around in the 70s answer.
So you've got people that like just shave everything, and then you've got the exact opposite, and her underwear is the exact opposite.
Yeah. And the best part is that there's different colors, so that way the carpet can match the drapes.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Is this ethically sourced hair?
See, I don't understand the appeal. Why would somebody, you said it's sold out?
It's like
Why would somebody do this?
basically sold out on the website.
There's no hope for America. There's no hope for society when people are. Who says money is a problem in America? If people have money for that, y'all got too much money.
It all goes back to O.J. Simpson.
This is OJ's fault.
O.J. never gets traded, never commits a murder. Robert Kardashian never has to defend him in court, and the Kardashians never blow up like this.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I think we could actually blame the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, we can. We can directly blame the Buffalo Bills.
You know, we blame USC because he went to USC. Let's just keep on going.
I love it.
You know what? Blame the Bay Area because that's where he grew up.
That's probably accurate.
Yeah, I mean, everything goes back to San Francisco, doesn't it?
San Francisco did this.
And then Gavin Newsom ruined San Francisco.
And I guarantee you'll see some people, you probably see guys wearing this in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They probably don't need it in San Francisco.
Razors stay stocked on the shelves in San Francisco.
They're behind the glass, so that way you can't steal them.
It's too inconvenient.
All right. Well, you know what? That just shows you that there are people that'll fall for anything.
Yeah, from the woman who married Kanye West, you really expect anything great?
Do you know what the thing is?
What's a worse product? The Kanye West swastika T-shirt or the Kim Kardashian pubic hair underwear?
Here's what I would ask. I don't know, man.
Put it for a YouTube poll.
Currently polling at 87% Dan.
Oh, we did a YouTube poll.
Yeah.
So 87% say that the emoji looks like me.
Yeah.
My emoji is more lifelike.
Most accurate, and then 8% for Murphy and 5% for Chris.
All right, there you go. Cool. I did something right this morning. Do you know what's weird? You know, Kim Kardashian is actually very smart. She's very smart. I'm getting this stone look from Chris.
I'm not
She's
knocking
educated.
it. She's
very educated.
She
And listen,
she knew how to build a career off a sex tape.
Listen.
Yeah.
Her mom did, actually.
Her mom. How gross is that? Her mom shopped the sex tape.
Yeah. It is horrifying.
It's awful.
But you know what?
No wonder Bruce went and did what he did. The family drive you nuts.
R.I.P. Bruce. Every man in that
drive
family.
the nuts off you.
Every man in that family has gone insane. Have you noticed that?
Yes. Yeah.
Scott,
Kanye,
all of them.
Lamar Odom.
Oh my gosh.
Is he still alive?
He ended up in a brothel in Mexico, overdosed. That's how crazy that family drove him.
There you go. All right. Very good.
Did he die?
No.
He'll be all right.
Of all the places you wouldn't want to die, it would be, I don't know. Would you want to die in a brothel?
Depends on the country, not in Mexico.
Depends on the country. What's wrong with you? All right, 8:54. Joan was coming up.
Missing children have been rescued in Memphis. Also, a surviving employee at AES speaks out about the safety at that munitions company. We've got those stories coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. 8:55. Window Nation, listen, October is here, and so is the return of chilly air seeping into your home. That is, if you have old, stuck, or cracked windows. If you need new windows, you've got to call my friends at Window Nation. I've got 4 in my home. They are great. Window Nation has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. And yes, they do offer a lifetime warranty on all their windows. And right now, they've got a great deal going on. When you buy 2 windows, you are going to get 2 free. That's right. And there's no limit as to how many windows you can replace. And your total price includes, listen to this, a 1-day installation. Make no payments for 2 years, no monthly payments, no down payment, and no interest until 2027. That is a big deal with, of course, the holidays coming up. Window Nation. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, and no payments for 2 years. Call them, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. 866-90-NATION, 866-90-NATION, windownation.com. 8:58 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, it's not often that we get thanked for our segments, but somebody actually thanked us, Joan and Sam,
Oh, why is
for
that?
that last segment. Well, because
8420 said, thank you for making me laugh this morning.
You're welcome.
To be fair, Sally also texted in and said, I would like to reclaim the last 10 minutes of my life.
Fair.
So the duality of the audience.
But, you know, with Sally, I would expect nothing less or more.
Yep.
That is the Salliest thing I've heard today. We love Sally. Sally's a guy, by the way, and we like Sally a lot.
Somebody named Tennessee Homestead said they are the Kartrashians.
The Kartrashians.
Ooh.
I like it.
I like that.
3157 texted in. I mentioned, all the different colors, the color options. They said, do they have a Dennis Rodman edition?
Okay. What you got coming up?
Well, we're going to talk about Donald Trump yesterday and the ceremony for Charlie Kirk. I thought it was awesome. A lot of people were mad about Trump making it about him. I didn't see the issue.
I didn't see that at all.
I didn't either. I didn't see it that way. But some are. We'll also talk about the controversy circling around the young Republicans and why I'm more mad about the young Republicans than I am about the controversy.
Okay, very good. Looking forward to that. And
also, I think the government shut down still.
It is confirmed.
Nothing of value has been lost.
Yeah, Joan, what day is it now? Fake news, Jones.
Oh, my goodness.
I think we're on 15.
15. Let me help you. I can hear Joan beginning to brain cramp.
She's going to march into the doctor's office
do you remember
and grab
the
the
gears?
scalpel.
You used to play the gears when Biden's brain was trying to work?
Yes.
Or you're going to have to bring it back for Joan. As we get more into the government shutdown.
We're on day 15, Joan.
What day is it, Joan?
Somebody find my knife.
All right, Chris is up next on WTN.